Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto uses his mother's sword in the Chunin exams part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Naruto Uzumaki, 8-year-old boy with violet eyes and sunny blonde hair, the only exception being the blood red tips to his blonde spikes, was currently sitting on the top of the Hokage monument under the watch of a hidden ANBU agent with a cat mask and long purple hair and unofficially a purple fanned-out ponytailed brown pupil-less-eyed special jonin, watching the sun set, although he didn't plan to stay long. He needed to get to a hiding spot. Why, you may ask? Why would an 8-year-old need to hide? Well, Naruto was an orphan as well as the container of 3 demons, not that he knew the latter, neither did most of the village. They thought he only contained one. But the one everyone knew the boy contained was none other than the Kyuubi no Kitsune, perpetrator of an attack on the Leaf Village 8 years ago on the night of Naruto's birth. After the beast went on a rampage, the Yondaime Hokage Minato Namikaze was left with only one option: seal the beast into a newborn child, and only one fit the bill: little Naruto. For most of Naruto's life he had been mistreated. Having no parents, he was placed in the orphanage, much to the dismay of the few that would have taken the boy in, such as Saminizuka, the boy's mother's teammate, Mikoto Uchiha, the boy's mother's other teammate, Shikaku Nara, head of the Nara clan, head and friend of Naruto's father. Same story for Shikaku's 2 teammates: Inoichi Yamanaka, the Yamanaka clan head, and Choza Akimichi, the Akimichi clan head, Tsunade Senju, the boy's godmother and mother's sensei, Jiraiya of the Sannin, the boy's godfather and the boy's father's sensei, and finally the boy's mother's favorite students, Enko Mitarashi and Yugao Yuzuki. Most of these people vowed to help the blonde. The only 2 who didn't were Jiraiya and Tsunade, who were both told by the village elders that the boy had perished with his parents. Once the reinstated 3rd Hokage Hiruzen Sarutobi decided to have ANBU watch over Naruto, Yugao immediately put her hand up for the job, hoping to keep the child from harm, which on the nights she was watching him she did, but she couldn't watch him all the time, so Naruto had suffered at the hands of the idiotic people that thought he was the Kyuubi incarnate. Yugao watched Naruto as the sun dropped below the horizon and he stood up. Yugao and Enko, who were both watching over Naruto, Yugao officially and Enko unofficially, the duo followed him as he walked down the Hokage monument, and descending to the streets of Konoha and headed off towards the most dangerous place in Konoha. Training Ground 44, aka the Forest of Death. Naruto ducked through back streets, parks and alleyways, anything to keep out of the public's eyes, but it was not to be. As Naruto drew within a stone's throw of his destination, a drunken Chunin spotted him and threw a half-empty bottle of sake at the boy who was looking the other way. Both Yugao and Enko were too far away to intercept the bottle, and so Naruto was hit in the head with the bottle and fell to the ground unconscious. The Chunin was about to call for a mob, but before he could, he was run through by a sword, Yugao's sword to be precise. Before anyone spotted the down Naruto, Enko had picked him up and rushed away to a safe place. Naruto awoke in a strange place. It looked like a sewer, but he knew it wasn't. A. It didn't smell like one. B. He knew all the sewers in Konoha and this wasn't one of them. Naruto looked up to the ceiling, something catching his attention. When he looked up, he saw them 4 pipelines running along the ceiling, 1 blue, the other 3 blood red, the 3 blood red ones leading off to one place. Naruto got up and followed the 3 blood red pipes. Naruto walked for a while following the pipes, eventually coming to a room with 3 huge cells in it. All that was holding the bars shut were pieces of paper with the kanji for seal on them. All at once 3 pairs of eyes snapped open, one set behind each set of bars, one pair with black sclera, gold irises, and 4 pointed star-shaped pupils, the next with white sclera, blood red irises and slitted pupils, the last orange sclera, and that's it, no iris or pupil. So our jailer finally shows himself, spoke the blood red pupils. He looks so small and scrawny. Are you sure I can't manipulate him even a little bit? Questioned the gold irises, sounding a little insane. Aren't you the one who said not even you would wish what happened to this boy on another person? Questioned orange eyes. Enough, both of you, yelled red eyes as he moved out of the shadows, revealing himself to be a giant fox with orange fur and 9 swaying tails. You're no fun, Kurama, spoke gold eyes, revealing himself to be another giant creature, this time a large sandy brown tanuki with weird blue squiggles on its body and 1 tail. Would you shut that insane mouth of yours, Shikaku, spoke orange eyes, revealing himself to be a giant fiery red 4-tailed ape. Make me Goku, spoke the tanuki, dubbed Shikaku. If you 2 don't shut up, I will rip you into so many pieces nothing would be able to put them together, spoke the fox, dubbed Kurama. Yes, we're here to talk to our jailer, not fight, spoke the ape, dubbed Goku. You mean me? Questioned Naruto, making all 3 great beasts turn to him. Yes, boy, we mean you, said Kurama. Okay, so what are we going to talk about, and why did you call me your jailer? Asked Naruto. Because the Yondaime Hokage sealed the 3 of us into you on the night of your birth, Naruto, said Goku. Naruto looked at the great beast, confused. On the night of your birth, a masked man forcibly extracted me from my previous container and placed me under a genjutsu, and forced me to attack the Leaf Village. After a small skirmish, the yondaime relieved the man of his control over me and I fell into a sleep, spoke Kurama. That's when me and my previous container and Shikaku's previous container attacked the yondaime. The two of them were under the same masked man's genjutsu. The yondaime killed both our containers and in the process, unknowingly released us, spoke Goku. I was still under the man's genjutsu, not sure about Goku over there, so I started attacking the yondaime, but he managed to get the three of us in the same area, and Kurama's previous container used a special ability to contain us while the yondaime sealed us, and you spoke Shikaku, surprisingly serious. Naruto quickly looked at the three great beasts. Wait, you three are Bijus, aren't you? Questioned Naruto, somewhat shocking the three beasts. Yes, child, we are, said Kurama. So what is it you want? I'm sure you didn't just tell me that to pass the time. Questioned Naruto. How about you release us? Questioned Shikaku. Not happening, you crazy tanuki, said Naruto, making said crazy tanuki grin like a madman. Worth a shot, said Shikaku. Well, seeing as we're not getting out at any time soon, we're each going to give you power to make you strong, said Kurama. What's in it for you? Asked Naruto. We don't want a weak container, it reflects badly on us, as well as because of the damned seal. If you die, we die with you, and even if we will reform in a few years, dying is fucking painful, said Shikaku. Naruto was studying the three Biju with a studying gaze before nodding. Okay, what do I need to do? Asked Naruto. Tear a hand-sized piece of these bits of paper, spoke Kurama. Naruto glared at Kurama again before nodding and doing as instructed for all three Biju. So what happens now? Asked Naruto. We pump our demonic chakra into you, giving you gifts that are similar to our own skills. For example, from me you will gain a very strong fire and earth affinity along with the ability to perform lava-style ninjutsu, spoke Goku. From me you gain a strong wind and earth affinity, as well as being able to manipulate sand. I will also give you a gourd of sand that will protect you from anything that means you harm. You will have some but not complete control of the sand, spoke Shikaku. And from me you will receive a very strong wind and fire affinity, as well as you will be able to sense people's emotions like malice, rage and hatred. You will have the strongest sensor skills in recorded history, spoke Kurama. Alright, let's get this started, said Naruto. Alright, kid, this is going to hurt like hell, said Shikaku, and before Naruto could change his mind, the three great beasts pumped the demonic chakra into the young blonde, making him black out from the pain. When Naruto awoke, he saw it was dark, and he was in a forest. Wait, how am I in a forest? I got knocked out on a street, didn't I? Mentally questioned Naruto as he looked down on himself, seeing his clothing still intact and no cuts or scars. His eyes caught the sight of a small fire burning with two purple-haired women around it. Naruto desperately looked around for something to defend himself with, his frantic movements alerting the one of the purple-haired women. Yugao, he's awake, said the woman. The second woman turned to Naruto. Naruto, are you okay? Questioned the second woman, jogging over to him. Please don't hurt me, said Naruto, putting his hands up in a defensive manner, and closing his eyes as he did. A dome of sand formed around him coming from the gourd that wasn't too far off, leaning on a tree. Naruto opened his eyes and saw the dome of sand. It was real, thought Naruto happily. Naruto, we don't want to hurt you, please just listen to us, spoke one of the voices. A small hole appeared in the sand dome, enough that Naruto could look out. He looked at the two women. They both had purple hair and brown eyes. One had their hair tied in a fanned-out ponytail and her brown eyes were pupilless and a light brown. She wore a beige trench coat over fishnet armor and an orange miniskirt, silver shin guards, and she had a snake fang pendant around her neck. The other woman had darker purple hair let down and darker brown eyes with normal pupils. She wore standard ANBU armor but didn't have a mask on. Naruto, we won't hurt you, it's me, Nico, said the ANBU armor-wearing woman. Naruto looked at her and tilted his head to the side. Even with it being dark and him inside a dome of sand, both women could see him and had to control themselves from screaming cute and glomping Naruto. If you're Nico, where's your mask? Questioned Naruto. Right here, said Yugao, pulling her cat-like mask off her belt. What do you two want? Questioned Naruto. You're starting at the academy soon, right? Asked Yugao, getting a nod from the protected blonde. We want to ask you if you want us to help prepare you for the academy, spoke the other woman. Okay, said Naruto. A 10-year-old Naruto sat in a tree in the academy courtyard. Today was his first day, and he already knew he was way ahead of the other students. He was not arrogant, but he was skilled, as he knew and had mastered 2 of the 3 basic ninjutsu taught at the academy, while had several replacements for the other. Naruto had also mastered up to Chunin level chakra control exercises, had 2 summoning contracts, mastered the basics of 3 different taijutsu styles, mastered most basic katas for the 2 kenjutsu styles he was working on, had the basics down for elemental manipulation of wind, water, and surprisingly ice. A Kekii Genkai he unlocked while practicing water manipulation. Naruto also had worked very hard on controlling his sand and he had the basics of sensing down. Naruto was waiting for his name to be called for which class he was in. Naruto Uzumaki? Called Irika. He was currently standing in front of almost all of his class minus Naruto, who was purposely put in his class by the Hokage hoping to ease both parties' pain. A few seconds after Irika called the name, a boy dropped out of a nearby tree. The boy had spiky blonde hair with blood-red tips to some spikes, purple tips to others, and then some black streaks going through his hair, and he wore a dark red scarf tied around his neck. Somewhat under the scarf was a length of chain. He had long black arm warmer/fingerless gloves that went from the base of the fingers to his elbows and covered his palms. He wore a light gray sleeveless shirt with a dark gray Oriental dragon on it. Over that he wore a sleeveless black kimono and a matching pair of black pants. He had a red sash that matched the color of his scarf. He also had a pouch attached to a leather strap around his waist. His fingernails were painted with black nail polish, and over the top of it all he wore a black trench coat that the left sleeve went to the elbows and the right was torn off, revealing that half of his upper arm was taken up by two tattoos. One looked like a flock of falcons, and the other looked like a group of snakes. On the bottom of the coat there was red flame-like pattern. At the boy's waist there was a katana in a midnight black sheath with the blood-red lines going down the edges and had in the center a silver Uzumaki swirl. Lastly, on the boy's back was a gourd. What it contained was far beyond Irika's guess. Naruto Uzumaki? Questioned Irika, looking at the boy. That's my name, don't wear it out, said Naruto, getting snickers from the rest of the class. Irika just blinked then laughed. Alright everyone, follow me to the classroom so we can get classes started, said Irika, walking off into the building, his class following him. They walked through the halls of the academy, going into room 107 where Irika told the class to find a seat. Naruto, being who he was, waited till everyone else had taken their seats and then found the seat furthest away from as many people as he could get, finding himself in the back left seat right next to the wall, having no one around him in a two-chair radius. Alright everyone, as of today your training to become ninja of the leaf starts. It's nice to see so many clan heirs and heiresses. My name is Irika and for the next 5 years I'm your sensei, said Irika. Now just to break the ice, I have a questionnaire that everyone will get, so you go around the room trying to get people who share the things listed on the sheet with you. So like favorite color, said Irika, starting to hand out the paper. Irika approached Naruto, who was in a meditative position. Don't bother sensei, you hand me that piece of paper, it will either freeze, become soaking wet, or get shredded. I don't do things like this, they get to know me when I say they deserve to know me, said Naruto before opening one eye. I'm sure you understand sensei, said Naruto. Irika looked at Naruto and could understand perfectly well why the boy was like this, but I'm sorry Naruto, everyone has to take part, said Irika, handing Naruto the piece of paper, and true to Naruto's promise the paper glowed blue for a moment before bursting into confetti. What did I say? Asked Naruto. I can see you're not going to participate, but I can understand, I'll leave it this time, but this is the first and last time, said Irika with a threatening finger pointing. Naruto rolled his eyes and nodded and went back to meditating, taking in all the chakra signatures in the classroom. Half an hour later everyone was seated again and Irika started to talk again. Alright everyone, hopefully that broke the ice alright. Now one of the most basic things ninja utilize is? Questioned Irika, hoping for someone to know the answer. Chakra, spoke Naruto from his corner, making everyone turn to him, some having forgotten he was even there. Very good Naruto, now who can tell me what chakra is? Asked Irika. Chakra is used in almost all ninja techniques, spoke a pink-haired girl with green eyes and an abnormally large forehead. She looked pleased with herself at her answer. Chakra is essential to even the most basic technique. It is the molding of the physical energy present in every cell of the body, and the spiritual energy gained from exercise and experience. Once molded, it can be channeled through the chakra circulatory system, which is to chakra as the regular circulatory system is to blood, to any of the 361 chakra points, called tenketsu, in the body. Through various methods, the most common of which is hand seals, the chakra can then be controlled and manipulated to create an effect that would not be possible otherwise, such as walking on water, exhaling fire, or creating illusions. By molding different ratios of the two energies, new and much stronger types of chakra can be formed. Most ninja have a natural affinity to one type of chakra, but they have the capacity to create elemental chakra apart from their own affinity. There are 5 basic types: water, fire, wind, lightning, and earth, each stronger and weaker to another, but their relations, weaknesses, and strengths to each other are all explored, like water is strong against fire while fire is strong against wind, and so forth. In addition to these 5 elements, certain Kekkai Genkai can mix elemental chakra to form new natures. For example, it is possible to mix water and wind into ice. While many ninja can use more than one type of chakra, very few are able to use them simultaneously, said Naruto, once again gaining stares from his new classmates and teacher. Excellent Naruto, textbook answer, said Irika. Now who can already access their chakra? Raise your hand, said Irika. Naruto and all of the clan heirs raised their hands. Alright, well, I'm going to write up on the board the hand signs for a jutsu I want you to try while I help the rest of the class access their chakra, said Iruka, walking over to the board, writing up on the board transformation jutsu, then underlined it before writing up the hand signs. After he did, he called all the ones who couldn't access their chakra down to the front. Naruto put his head down on the desk and went to sleep. Naruto was awoken about 3 hours later by the sound of a bell signaling the hour lunch break had started. Naruto rubbed his eyes and walked out of the room, grabbing his food on the way out. Naruto sat under the tree he had been seated in earlier that morning and ate an apple. As he ate, Naruto was approached by a large group of students, or rather one student who had a small army following him. Blondie, fight me, spoke the dark-haired individual. Fuck off, Uchiha, I'm eating, said Naruto. Said Uchiha looked at Naruto half curiously, half angered. Black hair, onyx eyes, attitude issues, stick so far up your ass I can see it in the back of your throat, said Naruto, earning snickers from all the males in the vicinity save the Uchiha in front of Naruto. Don't speak to Sasuke-kun like that, screeched the pink-haired girl from in the class. Naruto blatantly ignored her and continued eating his apple. Don't ignore me, screeched the girl. I said smack, said Sakura, stopping when she was slapped in the face, making her spin 3 times before falling on the ground. Shut your screechy mouth, fuckwit, said Naruto before resuming his seated position and resumed eating his apple. The Uchiha stood for 5 minutes watching as Naruto ate his apple. Once Naruto was done. Fight me now, blonde, ordered the now dubbed Sasuke. Naruto pinched the bridge of his nose before standing up. Fine, said Naruto, walking away from his previous position to stand in the courtyard, the entire class following, even attracting the attention of a few of the older class members, including a Hyuga boy with an air of arrogance around him, a girl with brown hair tied into 2 buns, and a boy with black hair and wired eyes. As everyone gathered around the duo, a teacher appeared. What's going on over here? Asked the Chunin. The Uchiha challenged me to a fight, care to proctor for us? Asked Naruto, looking back at the Chunin. I should stop you, but it's your choice to agree. Okay, said the Chunin, walking over and standing between the 2 boys. What conditions are you going by? Asked the Chunin. Anything goes, said Sasuke. Naruto just shrugged. Whatever, said Naruto, standing there with a bored look on his face. Alright, anything goes, you 2 may begin, said the Chunin, jumping back. Sasuke rushed at Naruto, who stood there with a bored look on his face, which Sasuke promptly threw a punch at with an arrogant smirk on his face, only for his fist to be blocked by sand. Sasuke then went to kick Naruto, again blocked by sand. Sasuke jumped back before once again running in before unleashing a barrage of punches and kicks, all blocked by the sand. All the onlookers were shocked to say the least, even Iruka, who had come to see what the commotion was about, along with 2 of the second-year students, the boy with weird eyes and the girl with her hair in buns. Naruto stood perfectly still while Sasuke unleashed punch and kick after punch and kick, all being blocked. Once again the Uchiha jumped back and pulled out kunai and shuriken. Iruka was about to jump in and stop them, as was the Chunin proctor, only for both of them to have their shoulders grabbed. They both turned back and saw Anko standing there shaking her head. Don't worry, said Anko. The 2 Chunins turned back to see Naruto still giving no shits about the fights, even going so far as to pull out his katana and examine the blood-red blade as Sasuke threw at least 5 shuriken and kunai at the unaware Naruto, thinking the sand wouldn't do anything. How wrong Sasuke was. The kunai and shuriken were all stopped by the sand. Naruto had to stifle a yawn as he then chose to examine his fingernails. Sasuke growled before flipping through hand signs at a reasonable speed. Again both Chunins were about to jump and stopped again by Anko, who was still shaking her head. Stop worrying, said Anko. Naruto looked up as Sasuke finished his hand signs, the last one being a tiger sign. Fire-style fireball jutsu, called Sasuke, launching a fireball at Naruto. Naruto at this point had a look of concentration on his face as the slow-moving fireball drew closer. The fireball hit and created a small explosion and some smoke. Once the smoke cleared, everyone saw Naruto standing there with his sand shield still up, but instead of the sandy brown it was a light blue color. Sasuke, who saw this, scowled before dropping to the ground. Used a little too much chakra, Uchiha, said Naruto, turning on the balls of his feet as the sand retreated into the gourd on his back. Naruto walked around the corner when he heard a yell. Naruto yelled a boy's voice that sounded familiar. Naruto turned. Lee Tenchan? Questioned Naruto as he saw 2 people approaching. 2.5 years into Naruto's 5 years, Naruto sat in the academy listening to Iruka talking. Alright, that covers the basics of genjutsu. Is there any other ninja arts anyone would like to know about? Asked Iruka. Iruka-sensei, said Naruto, raising his hand. Yes, Naruto? Asked Iruka. Could you tell us about Fuinjutsu? Asked Naruto. Well, I personally know very little of the art. only knowing that Fuinjutsu are a type of jutsu that seals objects, living beings, chakra, along with a wide variety of other things within another object. Fuinjutsu can also be used to unseal objects either from within something or someone, said Irika. Do you know where I could find information on Fuinjutsu? Asked Naruto. Well, normally I would say the library, but I know that there is a very limited amount of knowledge there as well, said Irika, interrupted from his thought process as the day's final bell rang out signaling it was time to go. Alright class, remember we have taijutsu practice tomorrow, dress appropriately, said Irika. Everyone slowly walked out of the building. Naruto walked away, avoiding as many people as he could, quickly walking to the Hokage monument where he sat on top and looked out over the village. Hey Anko-sensei, said Naruto as Anko was sneaking up on him. Damn you, and your sensing ability, said Anko. Hey Anko, you wouldn't have any idea where I could get books on Fuinjutsu? Asked Naruto. Why do you ask, Naruto? Asked Anko. I found a book the other day and it was on Uzushiogakure and the Uzumakis and their amazing sealing abilities. I just want to see if I have any talent for it, said Naruto. Well, said Anko, adopting a thinking pose. Yugao then jumped out of the tree line from behind the two. Anko, what do you think? Do you think he's ready for at least half of it? Asked Yugao, greatly confusing Naruto. That's what I'm thinking about. I mean, he's at least high Genin low Chunin by my mark now, said Anko. Yeah, I'd say the same. Besides, he wants to learn his clan's art. Who are we or the Hokage to refuse? Besides, you and I both know that you made enemies, but not as many, said Yugao. Yeah, I think it's time, said Anko before the duo turned back to a very confused Naruto. Naruto, Hokage's office now, said Yugao, disappearing in a swirl of leaves. Naruto and Anko both followed suit. Shortly afterwards, the three were standing in the Hokage's office. Ah, Anko, Yugao, and Naruto, what can I do for you three today? Asked Hiruzen. Hokage-sama, could you remove the ANBU? Asked Yugao in a serious one. Hiruzen nodded and dismissed his three hidden ANBU. Kid, one more left corner behind the Hokage, spoke Kurama in Naruto's head. Naruto threw a kunai at the place, and lo and behold, an ANBU with a blank mask dropped to the floor in an ever-growing pool of his own blood. The other three occupants of the room looked at Naruto shocked. QB sealed in me, plus I have the super sensing he gave me, said Naruto, deadpanning. Yugao, what is so important you request me to send out the ANBU? Asked Hiruzen. Yugao pointed her thumb at Naruto. Both Anko and I think he should be told of his mother. He knows about his clan, he knows about their abilities, and he wishes to learn sealing. What better way than the Uzumaki scrolls? Asked Yugao. Alright, said Hiruzen. Naruto, your mother was a woman by the name of Kushina Uzumaki. She was a lovely woman despite her temper. She was one of the best kunoichi of her generation, highly skilled at kenjutsu, and when combined with her fuinjutsu she was very hard to stop. Here's a picture, said Hiruzen, reaching into his desk, pulling out a picture, and handing it to Naruto. The picture was of a red-haired woman wearing ANBU armor with a katana at her waist. Naruto blinked, put the picture on the Hokage's desk, and pulled his katana still in its sheath out of the holder and looked at it, then back to the photo. This katana, said Naruto. Belonged to your mother, yes, said Yugao. Naruto's eyes started to tear up. The elderly Hokage looked down at Naruto. Naruto, there is something more I need to show you, but first we should gather you things from your apartment, said Hiruzen. Naruto looked at him confused. I'm showing you to the Uzumaki clan compound, my boy. There you will find plenty of learning material on sealing, said the elderly Hokage, standing up. Okay, thanks, Gramps, said Naruto, walking towards the door. We best do this quickly. I don't want the paperwork to overflow my desk, said Hiruzen. Gramps, why not use shadow clones? Asked Naruto. The Hokage looked at Naruto. Had he just given him the answer to defeating his greatest enemy, Hiruzen Sarutobi, the professor, god of shinobi, hadn't thought of the simplest thing, and an academy student, not even a genin, had thought of the answer. Bang! Hiruzen slammed his head against the wall. Bang, and again. How, bang, how could I have not thought of that? Bang, questioned Hiruzen. It happens to the best of us, said Naruto. Hiruzen smacked his head against the wall a couple more times before calming down. Within half an hour, Naruto was standing outside a fenced compound with his two senseis, and the Hokage beside him. He cut his palm with a kunai and rubbed his bloodied hand on the gate of the compound. The gate flashed and swung open. Well, Naruto, go on, said the Hokage. What, you're not coming with me? Asked Naruto. No, we can't. There are seals on the compound that only allows people with Uzumaki blood to enter, said Hiruzen. Oh, okay, I guess I'll see you three later, said Naruto, walking into the compound with his bag on his back that had everything from his apartment that he now had moved out of. Naruto walked through the compound and saw the clan swirl markings on all the buildings. Naruto walked down the streets of the compound. Looking at all of the buildings, he saw a lot of homes, a few training grounds, an armory, and a library. Naruto went to the clan head's house. It was a 2-story house on the bottom floor where the usual house requirements: a rather large lounge room, a laundry, a large kitchen, and a large dining room. Heading upstairs, Naruto found 9 bedrooms and bathrooms between the bedrooms. After Naruto had finished exploring his new home, he created 10 shadow clones to unpack his things, then went off to the library he had seen earlier. Naruto walked into the clan library, and immediately his jaw dropped. From the outside, the building looked like it was maybe 10 by 10 meters, but inside it was at least 30 times bigger. Again, Naruto summoned shadow clones. This time, however, he created about 300. They all dispersed and looked around at all of the scrolls and books. The real Naruto looked around, and his eyes immediately locked onto a door. Walking over to the room, he read what was on the door plate. Stasis Training? Questioned Naruto, looking at the plate before spying a book on a pedestal next to the room entitled Stasis Training: A Complete Guide. Naruto, deciding he had nothing better to do, opened the book and started to read. Stasis training is done with a combination of seals around a room. These seals create a field around the room so that the one in the room experiences a slower passage of time. 1 hour outside of the room is a month inside the room. It is possible to use this room for anything from practicing and perfecting various ninjutsu to reading and studying books and scrolls. Also, while in the room, the aging process does not occur. The one drawback to using this room is that people have to build up the amount of time they can use it, most only being able to use the room for several hours on the outside. Naruto continued reading the book, but after finishing the first 2 pages was already creating a clone to tell the other clones to gather all the books in the library and bring them to this room. After about half an hour, Naruto was in the stasis room with all of the books from the library with him. Naruto quickly double-checked the book he found to make sure he did everything right before activating the room, closing the door behind him, sealing the room so he could train. Next day at the academy, Naruto stood under a tree watching as 2 civilian girls fought each other, if one could even call it that. The 2 of them were scratching each other, pulling the other's hair, and anything but fighting properly. After another minute of their fight, Iruka called the match. "Alright Naruto, you're up," said Iruka. Naruto pushed off the tree and walked over to the sparring ring. "Who's your opponent today?" asked Iruka. "Sasuke, anything goes," said Naruto. Iruka nodded. Sasuke smirked and stepped up to the sparring ring. "You ready to lose, dope?" questioned Sasuke snidely. "Shut up, team," said Naruto, dropping into a stance the students didn't recognize. "Another style, dope?" questioned Sasuke. Naruto didn't respond. "Are you two ready?" asked Iruka, getting a nod from both students as Sasuke dropped into his taijutsu style. "Then begin," said Iruka, jumping back as he started the match between the most destructive of his students. Naruto charged forwards at Sasuke, who had already pulled out 2 kunai. Sasuke threw the weapons at the blonde, only for the kunai to be blocked by Naruto's sand. In the blink of an eye, Naruto was in front of Sasuke and quickly delivered a punch to the dark-haired Uchiha's jaw. Sasuke used the momentum of the punch and flipped back, landing on his hands, and kicked at Naruto's chest. Naruto lazily dodged to the left, before delivering a sweeping kick trying to knock Sasuke off his hands. The kick was successful, but Sasuke fell over Naruto, landing on his feet behind Naruto before flipping back and pulling out 2 more kunai. Only attached to the kunai were 2 pieces of paper. Naruto smirked when he saw those pieces of paper. "Really getting that serious, team, or is this desperation?" asked Naruto, his taunt getting the desired reaction. Sasuke growled before he flung the 2 projectiles as fast as he could, only for them to be stopped by Naruto's sand, which formed a dome around the kunai as the paper tags exploded. Before the sand receded, Naruto leapt over the dome and landed in a roll and rolled in front of Sasuke, slapping the Uchiha in the chest, pushing him back, making the Uchiha fall to the ground. Naruto stood up, stifling a yawn. "Well, that was boring," said Naruto, turning away from the still down Sasuke, who couldn't move. It looked almost like he was weighed down by something. "What the hell did you do, dope?" ordered Sasuke. "Never let an Uzumaki mark you with a seal," said Naruto, turning to Iruka. "Call the match, he won't be getting up," said Naruto. "Bullshit, Sasuke-kun can beat you any day," screeched a pink banshee. "Oh yeah, if he's so good, how come there isn't even a scratch on me?" questioned Naruto, glaring at Sakura. "That's only because of that sand. If you didn't have that, Sasuke-kun would kick your ass," said Sakura before 30 kunai and shuriken littered the ground around her. "Ops, so sorry, I must have slipped," said Tenten without the slightest hint of sincerity, as she walked over. Now Tenchan, don't lie, you were testing you bitch detector technique again, weren't you?" said Naruto. "You caught me, Naruto," said Tenten, holding her hands in a defensive manner. Naruto turned back to Iruka. "You going to call the match, or do I have to crush Sasuke's chest?" asked Naruto. Iruka snapped out of his confusion and saw that Sasuke was still lying on the ground, absolutely fuming at the loss. "Right, sorry, winner," Naruto said. Iruka. Naruto walked out of the ring and helped collect Tenten's weapons. "Well, seeing as I'm done, I'm going to help Tenchan with her weapon practice," said Naruto, walking off with Tenten. Naruto sat in the back corner of the academy class he had been in for the last 5 years. Now 15 Naruto was taking the genin exams with the rest of his class today, and as usual Naruto sat alone in the back corner of the class waiting for Iruka to show to start the exams. Naruto wore what he did on the first day of the academy, but now in addition to his mother's sword he had a second one. Now both swords were attached to Naruto's back in an X shape under his gourd of sand. The second sword was in a midnight black sheath with golden edging as well as a red Uzumaki swirl in the center of it along with a glowing chain on it. This second sword was called the Shadow Star, and the sword was sentient. The sword itself was a manifestation of Naruto's mother Kushina Uzumaki. Naruto found part of his mother's soul in the seal. Holding back his 3 beasts, he managed to extract a portion of soul from the seal without damaging the seal. Kushina had limited time once her soul was removed from the seal. Naruto, being adept at forging weapons, had a spare katana he had forged, and working quickly Naruto sealed his mother's soul into the sword, saving Kushina. So now Naruto had his mother along with 3 great demons inside his mind. The Shadow Star was a weapon with a midnight black hilt, but the blade was in azure blue. It could shoot chakra chains from anywhere on the weapon, could conduct most chakra, and most importantly could only be wielded by those deemed worthy by Kushina. Currently there were only 2 worthy wielders, Naruto and Tenten. Sasuke had tried to steal Shadow Star only for the blade to burn Sasuke's hand, and shoot a chain out of the blade, forcing Sasuke to continue to hold the burning blade until Naruto removed it himself. Sasuke still hadn't gotten over it. Iruka walked into the room. "Alright everyone, today's the day the genin exams," spoke Iruka as he started to hand out tests. "The exam is split into 3 sections, a written section that you will complete now, a weapons portion to see your skill with kunai and shuriken, and finally a ninjutsu portion where you will be asked to perform a jutsu in front of the instructor," said Iruka. "Wait, that's it?" questioned Kushina. "It's so the civilian kids can live their parents' dreams of being ninjas," said Naruto mentally. "That's fucking crazy, and you know that's true when it's coming from me," came the voice of the crazy one-tailed Tanuki Shikaku. Naruto was so engrossed in the conversation with his tenants that he missed Iruka put the test on his desk. "Alright everyone, turn over and begin," said Iruka, drawing Naruto out of his conversation with his tenants. Naruto, you are aware there is a genjutsu placed on the test, aren't you?" questioned Goku. "Yes Goku, I know," said Naruto. "Just thought I should check, you have made mistakes like that in the past," spoke Goku. "Thanks," thought Naruto as he broke the genjutsu and started to answer the questions on the paper. After the written test, the class had a break. While Iruka marked the tests, Naruto sat alone in a tree and ate an apple, masking his presence to anything short of the Hokage or Anko and Yugao. Once Iruka marked the tests, everyone moved on to the weapon proficiency test. The lowest score belonged to Sakura with a 3 with kunai and a 2 with shuriken, while the highest was Sasuke Uchiha with 10 for kunai and 9 for shuriken. Naruto purposely got a 7 with both, just like her, purposely scored exactly 75% on the written exam. The final test was a jutsu test, and everyone was asked to perform a clone jutsu and create at least 3 good clones. Naruto, being unable to use basic clone jutsus, used a shadow clone, creating 2 enough for him to pass given the difficulty of the jutsu. Once the test had been completed, Iruka called all the graduates, strangely the whole class, into the classroom. "Alright everyone, you are expected to be here tomorrow at 9 o'clock for team placements," said Iruka, everyone nodding. "Now I have an announcement to make," said Iruka. Everyone broke out into whispers before their attention was drawn back to Iruka with a fake cough. "The Rookie of the Year this year is," said Iruka, taking a pause for dramatic effect, not that it really mattered to anyone with half a brain who had already figured it out. "Sasuke Uchiha," said Iruka. "Suck that dope," said Sasuke, turning to Naruto, who was busy examining Shadow Star. "But listen to me when I'm talking to you," ordered Sasuke. Naruto flicked his katana out to the side as if flicking something off it before he resheathed it, and turned to Iruka. "Sensei, can we go now?" asked Naruto. "Don't ignore Sasuke-kun, you loser," said Sakura. "Yes, everyone is dismissed," said Iruka. Before Sakura or Sasuke could yell at Naruto, he was already gone, a swirl of sand. Naruto was now in the shopping district of Konoha. To be specific, he was outside a weapon shop Tenten worked at, owned by her adopted father Juten Higurashi. Naruto entered the store, a bell signaling his entrance. Naruto wondered when I'd see you again," said Juten from behind the counter. "Yeah, well, have you seen Tenten around? I requested a custom-made sword. She said she'd take a crack at making," said Naruto. So that's what she's been working on for the last week," said Juten. "Yeah, what she didn't tell you?" questioned Naruto. "Oh, she told me, but not specifically who it was for," said Juten, looking at Naruto with a studying gaze for a moment. "Yes, well, have you seen her?" asked Naruto, fidgeting under the man's gaze. "I think she's downstairs, let me go get her," said Juten, walking away from the counter and into a back room. He returned a few moments later with Tenten in tow. She had in her hands a sword in a black sheath with a golden handle. The sheath had silver edging to it along with a gold Uzumaki spiral in the center. "Hey Tenchan," said Naruto as Tenten approached. "Hi Naruto," said Tenten as she walked out from behind the counter. "So here's the sword," said Tenten, handing Naruto the sword. Naruto unsheathed the blade ever so slightly enough that he could see the purple metal the blade was made from. "Like you requested, chakra conducting for any kind of chakra, purple-colored metal," said Tenten. "Is there some place I could quickly test it?" asked Naruto. "Yes, follow me," said Tenten, leading him out the back of the store, getting a wink from her father as she did. Once outside, Naruto saw it looked almost like a small training ground. There were training dummies, weights and targets perfect for an aspiring weapons expert. Naruto looked at Tenten before grabbing his new blade and walking forwards to a training dummy, fully drawing the purple blade. Once the blade was out of the sheath, Naruto bolted towards one training dummy, slicing and slashing at it before skidding to a stop the other side of the dummy and resheathing the blade. Tenten looked on curiously as Naruto slowly put the blade back in its sheath. A click was heard signaling the blade was fully resheathed, and then to Tenten's surprise the training dummy Naruto had attacked fell to pieces. Naruto turned to Tenten with a smirk. "Excellent," said Naruto before he stood up and walked over to Tenten, who was smiling. "Well, what do you think?" questioned Tenten. "It's perfect, Tenchan," said Naruto, lightly kissing Tenten on the cheek, making her blush. "Thank you," said Naruto. "You never did tell me what you need a third sword for," said Tenten. "You'll see all in good time, my dear," said Naruto with a smirk. "You're no fun, Naruto," said Tenten, pouting. "You will see, but not now," said Naruto. "Fine," said Tenten. The duo went back inside and Naruto paid for his sword and left, going home. Next day at the academy, Naruto again sat alone in the back corner of the classroom waiting for Iruka to show up. He now had all three swords strapped to his waist and was observing the class, trying to work out who his team would be. "It won't be Sasuke or Sakura, I made damn sure of that," thought Naruto. "It won't be the Yamanaka, the Nara, or the Akimichi," said Kushina. "I'm fairly sure it won't be any of the civilian children, otherwise the parents would complain to the Hokage," said Goku. "That leaves Hinata, Kiba, Shino, and Sai," thought Naruto, who was soon to get his answers as Iruka walked out the door holding a clipboard. "Alright everyone, listen up, cause I'm only telling you your teams once," said Iruka. "Team 1," said Iruka. Naruto zoned out until his name was called or something interesting happened. "HA suck that I know, pig, true love concurs all," screeched Sakura after Iruka revealed Team 7 to be Sasuke, Sai and Sakura. "Sakura, shut up," yelled Naruto, leaking some of his ki enough to frighten her. "Thank you, Naruto," said Iruka. Naruto then stopped leaking his ki and Iruka continued reading out teams. "Alright, Team 8 Shino, Hinata and Kiba," said Iruka. "Finally Team 10 Ino, Shikamaru and Choji," said Iruka. "Iruka-sensei?" questioned Naruto, raising his hand. "Yes, Naruto?" questioned Iruka, looking at Naruto. "What about me? You didn't call my name?" questioned Naruto. "No one cares about you, Naruto Baka," said Sakura before a glowing chain shot out of the desk behind Sakura and wrapped around her neck, choking her. Naruto stopped at this instant, ordered Iruka. "It's not me," said Naruto, jumping up, holding his hands in a defensive position. "You're the only one in the class who can use chakra chains," said Iruka. "Mum, stop it, you're getting me in trouble," thought Naruto. "That bitch deserves it though," said Kushina. "I know, but stop it," thought Naruto as he said this. The chain disappeared from around Sakura's neck. There were a few moments of silence. "Iruka-sensei, you didn't answer my question," said Naruto. "Oh right, sorry," said Iruka before looking down at the clipboard. "It says here you need to report to the Hokage's office," said Iruka. "Okay then, bye," said Naruto, disappearing in a swirl of sand, appearing just outside the tower. Naruto walked in and up to the Hokage's office, where he knocked on the door. "Enter," said Hiruzen from the other side of the door. Naruto entered the room to see Hiruzen there, and to his left was Yugao. "Ah, Naruto, there you are," said Hiruzen. "I was told by Iruka-sensei to come here," said Naruto. "That's right, Naruto, as you may have worked out you don't have a team," said Hiruzen, making Naruto's happiness deflate a little bit. "But Naruto, that is because I'm taking you on as my full-time apprentice," said Yugao. "What, really, sensei?" questioned Naruto, looking at Yugao, getting a nod from the woman. "Awesome," yelled Naruto, jumping for joy. "Now Naruto, there is another reason I called you here," said Hiruzen. "Something else, old man?" questioned Naruto. Yes, this isn't to do with becoming genin or anything, this is about your clan, said Hiruzen, instantly gaining Naruto's full attention. Well, as you are aware, you are the last known member of the Uzumaki clan, said Hiruzen, getting a nod from Naruto. As such, there is something you must do for your clan and the village, said Hiruzen. What's that, old man? Questioned Naruto. Naruto, my boy, tell me, what do you know of the CRA? Questioned Hiruzen. It had been a month since the genin teams were formed. Naruto and Yugao had only gone on C ranks, given that A, Yugao and Anko were both adamant that Naruto was strong enough to take them, and B, no villager would want Naruto doing their chores. Naruto sat on top of the Hokage monument. Naruto had finished his training for the day about half an hour ago, and was now watching the village from atop the Hokage monument, while waiting for Tenten. He had asked her to meet him on top of the monument. He had something he had to tell her. Naruto closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Naruto-kun? Questioned Tenten as she approached him. She had no idea what he wanted to tell her, but this was the perfect opportunity for her. She needed to tell him something as well, and she promised herself that today was the day she told him. Tenchan, thanks for coming up here, said Naruto. It's no problem, Naruto-kun, whatever this is, it must be important, said Tenten with a smile. What a beautiful smile, thought Naruto. Yeah, it's important, well, to me it is, said Naruto, chuckling nervously, having no idea how to say this. So what is it you needed to tell me, Naruto-kun? Asked Tenten. Naruto looked at the ground and bit his lower lip. Tenchan, said Naruto. Yes, Naruto-kun? Questioned Tenten. Would you be my girlfriend? Asked Naruto. Tenten froze. He wants me to be his girlfriend, yes, Kami, yes, yelled a chibi Tenten, running around in her head. Tenten looked up with a smile to see Naruto's eyes full of hope. Tenten then did something Naruto didn't expect. Naruto was pounced upon by Tenten, and the second she got a hold of him, she crashed her lips into his. At first he was shocked, but in the blink of an eye he returned the kiss with just as much passion. Once the duo separated, Naruto turned to Tenten with a sad half-smile on his face. Tenchan, I need to tell you a couple of things, said Naruto. What is it, Naruto-kun? Asked Tenten. You know I'm the last of the Uzumaki clan in the village, right? Questioned Naruto, getting a nod from Tenten. Well, because of that I have been placed on a thing called the Clan Restoration Act, which basically means I have to take multiple wives to restore my clan, said Naruto, looking at Tenten, trying to gauge her reaction. She had a blank look on her face. How many? Asked Tenten. Huh? Questioned Naruto. How many wives do you have to take? Asked Tenten. Well, normally it's 3, but the Hokage said 6, so I'm guessing that my father, who I still know nothing of, was also the last of his clan, making me the last of his clan too, said Naruto. So 6? Questioned Tenten, getting a nod from Naruto. Okay, said Tenten. That's it? Asked Naruto. No yelling at me, telling me not going to happen, nothing, just okay? Questioned Naruto. Yeah, why you plan on doing something stupid? Asked Tenten. No, I just accepted you to be a little more aggravated by this, said Naruto. No, I can understand why you have to, and I've known you long enough to know that you will treat all of us equally when you find more women to make it us, said Tenten. Oh well, good, said Naruto. You said a couple of things, I take it there's more, Naruto-kun? Questioned Tenten. Yeah, there's one more thing, but this one would be easier to show you, said Naruto, lifting up his shirt, making Tenten blush. You perfect chest? Questioned Tenten, getting a sad head shake from Naruto. No, this, said Naruto, channeling chakra to his stomach, revealing a seal. A seal? Questioned Tenten. Place your hand on it and channel chakra to your hand, said Naruto. Tenten did as instructed. Once she did, both she and Naruto fell down, Tenten falling on top of Naruto. The two awoke in the middle of a lush forest. Where are we, Naruto-kun? Asked Tenten, looking around. This is my mind, said Naruto. Follow me, said Naruto, jumping off into the forest, Tenten following closely behind. Tenten was confused and scared when she heard several loud crashes. Naruto grabbed Tenten's hand and gave it a reassuring squeeze as the duo kept leaping through the trees, eventually coming to a huge clearing in which 1 woman and 3 great beasts stood. Naruto and Tenten dropped to the ground. Oh, so the kid's back and he brought a friend, said the giant fox with 9 tails. Oh, can I torment this one a bit? Questioned the huge one-tailed tanuki. You try, Shikaka, and I'll lock you up so tight that you won't be able to breathe, said Naruto. Calm down, Naruto, are you going to introduce us or what? Asked the large 4-tailed ape. Tenten, right? Asked the red-headed woman, walking closer to Naruto and Tenten. How do you know my name? questioned the weapon's mistress. I think I would know the name of those worthy to wield me, spoke Kushina. Tenchan, this is my mother Kushina Uzumaki, or as you know her, Shadow Star, said Naruto, introducing Kushina and Tenten. So the soul in Shadow Star is your mother's? Asked Tenten, getting a nod from Naruto before she turned to Kushina, looking at her closely before it dawned on her. Wait, Kushina Uzumaki as in Konoha's Red Death, Kushina Uzumaki? Questioned Tenten. One and only, said Kushina, smirking. Wow, you're a legend, the only person to take on all 7 of the 7 swordsmen of the mist at the same time, and still survive, said Tenten, looking at Kushina in awe. Well, good to know some people know who I am, said Kushina. Hey, it's not my fault that the village hates me so much I can't even get a fucking book from the library, said Naruto. Alright, said Kushina. Hello, crazy Tanuki waiting to be introduced here, said Shikaku. Right, sorry, said Naruto. Tenchan, you need to meet the other 3 of my tenants so you know what you're getting into, said Naruto, getting a nod from Tenten. Tenten, meet Shikaku the Ichibi, said Naruto, pointing to Shikaku, who gave the duo a crazy-ass grin. Son Goku the Yanbi, said Naruto, pointing to the great ape, who bowed ever so slightly to the duo. And Kurama the Kyuubi, said Naruto, pointing to Kurama. The Kyuubi, questioned Tenten. Yes, but please allow us to explain what really happened the night of the Kyuubi attack, said Naruto, getting a reluctant nod from Tenten. And with that, Kyuubi, Shikaku, Goku, and Kushina told Tenten what really happened. So you didn't want to attack Kurama, you were forced out of Kushina-sama by an Uchiha? Questioned Tenten, making sure she had a grasp on it. Yes, that's right, said Kurama. Tenten, please, just Kushina knows Sama, said Kushina. Okay, Kushina, said Tenten. So now you know the truth about me, Tenchan, do you still want to be with me? Questioned Naruto, looking scared. Tenten took Naruto into a hug. You're still the same person, nothing could change that, whispered Tenten. Thank you, said Naruto, warping his arms around Tenten before kissing Tenten on the nose. It's okay, Naruto, said Tenten. The two stayed in their embrace for a few moments. Is this all you needed to tell me, Naruto-kun? Asked Tenten. Yes, said Naruto before turning to his tenants. Well, see you lot, said Naruto as he and Tenten disappeared from his mindscape before any response. Naruto and Tenten both woke up lying on the ground, or in Tenten's case half on the ground, half in Naruto's chest. Tenten sat up blushing. Tenten, are you busy tomorrow night? Asked Naruto. No, why, you have something in mind? Asked Tenten. Keep your schedule clear, I'm taking you out on a date, said Naruto with a smile. What time? Asked Tenten. I'll pick you up at 6, said Naruto. I'll hold you to that, Naruto-kun, said Tenten, leaning in and kissing Naruto on the cheek before turning and jogging to the steps down from the monument, where she waved to Naruto before disappearing once Tenten was out of sight. A voice spoke. Naruto, said Kushina inside Naruto's mind. Yeah, Mom? Questioned Naruto. I think it's time I told you about your father, said Kushina. Meanwhile, in the Hokage's office. Enough, these D-ranks are doing nothing to help me get stronger, I demand something better, yelled Sasuke. Know your place, Genin, yelled the Hokage. You're in no position to demand things, yelled the Hokage. With all due respect, Hokage-sama, I believe my team is ready for a C-rank mission, said Kakashi. Very well, Kakashi, your team can have a C-rank, but you need to teach them some manners, said the Hokage with a stern glare. Naruto stood opposite Yugao with his sword that Tenten had made for him, which he had dubbed Lilac Fire, and the sword he was given by Yugao, which it turned out was his mother's sword called Crimson Moon, in his hands, while Yugao had one sword in her hand. The two looked at each other as a breeze blew across the training field they were currently in. As a leaf blew past the two, they bolted at each other, and distinctive clangs were heard as the two crossed blades. However, both stopped and looked off to the side as they felt the chakra signature arrive. The two turned to see a tiger masked AMBU there. Hokage-sama requests you now, said Tiger, disappearing in a swirl of leaves. Thank you, Tiger-san, said Yugao as she then turned to Naruto. Well, best not keep him waiting, said Yugao. Race here, said Naruto, taking off at speed towards the Hokage Tower. The two ran across the buildings of Konoha, making it to the Hokage Tower in record time. The two ascended the stairs and walked into the Hokage's office to see him looking back at them with a very serious look on his face. Both immediately realized they were called for something important. Yugao, Naruto, good. I have just received a message from Kakashi, who was sent with his Genin team early yesterday morning on a C-rank mission, which is now being upgraded to at least a B rank, and it may yet be upgraded again. He is requesting backup, and you two are the two I'm choosing to send. Here's a copy of the mission scroll, said Hiruzen, handing Yugao a scroll. Right, Naruto, pack for a month, meet at the gates in 10 minutes, said Yugao, getting a nod from her student, then both disappeared in swirls of leaves. 10 minutes later. Naruto stood at the gate waiting for his sensei. He was still a little annoyed that he had to go. He had already told Tenten that he would have to cancel their date. Yugao approached Naruto. Alright, you got what you need? Asked Yugao. Yeah, let's go, said Naruto. The two ninja then ran out of the village heading towards the land of waves. The duo runs for hours, just running and running, trying to catch up to Kakashi's team. After several hours, the duo reaches a large river. They stop, and Yugao takes out a map. Yep, we're just outside the land of waves, it's just beyond the river, said Yugao. Alright, let's go then, said Naruto, taking off again, applying chakra to his feet before running across the river, Yugao following close behind. You feel that? Asked Naruto, looking back at his sensei. Yes, 6 chakra signatures, 2 Jonin, 2 Genin, 1 borderline Genin civilian, and 1 civilian, said Yugao. Sound like what we should be following? Asked Naruto. Yep, come on, said Yugao, darting off towards the signatures. Naruto just behind her. Once they got close, they could see the 2 Jonin on river, one inside a water dome. He had gravity-defying silver hair, and wore the standard leaf Jonin attire with the addition of a mask that covers the lower part of his face. The second Jonin stood next to the first with his arm in an orb of water holding the first Jonin. The second one wore blue camo pants. He had a giant blade strapped to his back and bandages covering the lower part of his face. The 3 Genin were standing on the shoreline guarding the civilian. The Genin were Sasuke, Sakura, and Sai, and in between the two groups was a second sword-wielding Jonin. Before Yugao could stop him, Naruto had leapt off the branch the two were observing from. Meanwhile, Sasuke was just about to pull out a kunai and rush at the water clone when Santorio Onigiri called a voice, and in a blur another person appeared from the tree line behind Zabuza's water clone, which quickly dissipated. Well, looks like we have some new faces, said Zabuza as the new swordsman stood up, revealing the gourd on his back and 3 swords, one in each hand and the last in his mouth. But what then Genin immediately recognized was the hair, spiky blonde hair with blood-red tips to some, spikes purple tips to others, and then some black streaks. Before any of the Konoha shinobi could say anything, Zabuza spoke up. What an interesting style. Are you an Uzumaki kid? Asked Zabuza, looking at Naruto. Yes, Naruto Uzumaki, at your service, Zabuza Momochi, demon of the hidden mist, said Naruto surprisingly clearly for a man with the hilt of a katana in his mouth. Well, I might just have to test your skills personally, said Zabuza, smirking as he made another water clone that he substituted with. Naruto leapt off the bank off the river, flying towards Zabuza. Zabuza brought his giant blade down on Naruto, only for a layer of sand to stop the downward swing from Zabuza's blade. What the? Questioned Zabuza as he tried to push his blade down with no success. Let's see if you remember this, said Naruto as he swung Crimson Moon up, knocking Zabuza's humongous sword away from Naruto's sand. That, said Zabuza, jumping back. Kid, where did you get that sword? Growled Zabuza. It was given to me by my sensei, who retrieved it from my mother's dead body to keep it safe, said Naruto as he spun around, slashing at Zabuza, inflicting a few small cuts on Zabuza's chest. Zabuza jumped back and looked at Naruto, who charged at him again at very fast speeds. Santoria Shadow Slash, called Naruto as he created 3 hand signless shadow clones who each had the 3 swords Naruto had, and the 4 Narutos charged at Zabuza. Zabuza swung his giant blade in a horizontal slash, hitting all the Narutos, and they all burst into smoke, and then unexpectedly one burst into water. Here, you lot have your useless sensei back, said Naruto, who now had his hand in the orb of water holding Kakashi before pulling his hand out, then jumping back to Zabuza, slashing at him. Zabuza blocked Naruto's ferocious attacks with his giant blade. Naruto jumped back from Zabuza, who brought his blade and ran at Naruto, attacking him first with a horizontal slash only for it to be blocked by sand. Zabuza then brought his blade back and attacked with a downward slash, again blocked by the sand. Zabuza then slashed and hacked at Naruto, all the blows being blocked by the sand. Zabuza then went for another downward slash. Naruto, instead of letting his sand take the blow, crossed his blades above his head, and Zabuza's huge sword was stopped by Naruto. Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity? Questioned Naruto, jumping back a bit from Zabuza. Zabuza was perplexed by the question. Zabuza raised a non-existent eyebrow. Insanity is doing the exact same fucking thing over and over again, expecting shit to change. That is crazy, said Naruto, laughing a bit at the end. Free internet cookie for whoever gets that reference. Zabuza again raised a non-existent eyebrow, then blinked. Zabuza then sheathed his giant sword and began doing hand signs. If Kenjutsu won't work, then let's test ninjutsu, said Zabuza, completing his hand signs. Water-style water dragon jutsu, called Zabuza as a dragon formed from the water behind him and flew at Naruto, who leapt to the left to avoid the attack. Zabuza smirked when he saw blood on Naruto's leg. Handy thanks, said Naruto as he wiped up some of the blood on his fingers, then ran his fingers down the falcon tattoo on his right upper arm. Summoning jutsu called Naruto. Zabuza was leaping back expecting something huge only to see a small falcon on Naruto's right shoulder. That's it? Questioned Zabuza laughing. Looks can be deceiving, said Naruto as he did some more hand signs. Summoner's art partial fusion called Naruto as he and the falcon were covered in smoke only for something to shoot out the top of the smoke. Zabuza looked up and his smirk dropped as he saw Naruto with a pair of falcon wings attached to his back flapping, keeping Naruto in the air. Water style. Water shark bomb jutsu called Zabuza after going through hand signs. A shark formed from the water and shot towards Naruto. Lava style lava globs called Naruto, spitting several balls of molten rock at Zabuza, one hitting Zabuza's shark, making it vaporize, turning it to steam. Zabuza jumped to the side, avoiding the globs of lava which hit the lake, instantly cooling, creating steam. Hiding in the mist jutsu called Zabuza as he disappeared into the mist. Naruto dropped back to the lake surface, creating 3 clones as he did. The 3 clones ran into the mist. What the fuck? Came the voice of Zabuza as he came back into view again, only now he had 4 chains wrapped around him, one around each limb. Naruto walked towards Zabuza drawing lilac fire and was about to stab Zabuza when out of nowhere 2 Saban needles hit Zabuza's neck, making the man fall limp. Show yourself, called Naruto. Naruto looked around but stopped when he spotted a boy no older than him wearing a mask standing in a tree. I thank you for your assistance. I have been tracking him for weeks. Zabuza is a slippery one, said the boy, jumping down from the tree and walking over to Zabuza's down body. The boy placed Zabuza over one shoulder and disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Naruto walked back to the shore to see a shocked look on Sakura's face as well as on the face of the civilian. Both Sasuke and Kakashi were seething. Sai was Sai, and Yugao looked proud. Nicely done, Naruto, said Yugao. Naruto, give me all of your techniques, your weapons, and all of your power. A no-name orphan like you deserves no such power, said Sasuke. And what makes you deserves it? Questioned Naruto. I am an Uchiha, an elite, said Sasuke, puffing out his chest. You an elite? Bahahaha, you're so funny, said Naruto, laughing. Hey, stop laughing at Sasuke-kun, ordered Sakura. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at the fact that either Sasuke has forgotten or was simply never taught that he is a mud breed of Uchiha. The only elite Uchiha around here is me, said Naruto. No, you're not an Uchiha, said Sasuke. I'm more Uchiha than you, said Naruto. You lie, yelled Sasuke. Nup, here, let me give you a history lesson. In the Warring States period, both the Senju and Uchiha clans dwindled down to one family, just one family, a mother, a father, and 2 sons on each side. On the Senju side, Hashirama and Tobirama Senju were the sons, while on the Uchiha side there was Izuna and Madara Uchiha. Now both clans didn't wish to die out, so both the Uchiha and Senju gathered a small village worth of random people and performed what is called a blood ritual, which when performed, morphed the DNA of the chosen people, changing them into Senju and Uchiha. However, these converted people's DNA was still at least half their own. This is where the pure and impure or mud breeds come in. You see, in the impure Uchiha, their Sharingan was weaker than that of the pure Uchiha, who could upgrade their Sharingan to Mangekyo and then eternal Mangekyo Sharingan with either large emotional trauma or a life or death situation, unlike the impure Uchiha, who had to kill a loved one to unlock Mangekyo and then switch eyes with another impure Mangekyo wielder to gain the eternal Mangekyo. Once the Leaf Village was created and Madara was banished, most of the knowledge of the Mut and pure breeds was forgotten. However, there was still one pure Uchiha in the world, and it didn't matter if he were to impregnate a random woman, the child would still be a pure Uchiha. And then if that child were to become impregnated, the resulting child would still be considered pure Uchiha, and that's how we get to me, grandson of Madara Uchiha, and the last pure Uchiha in the world, said Naruto. Yeah, right, said Sasuke. Yugao face-palmed at the boy's stupidity, but then had to jump at Naruto and knock him down as his eyes turned to Sharingan, but then they kept spinning, revealing Naruto's eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, which looked like a black opening rotating camera lens with red on the inside with a black line 6-point star with the pupil in the center. If you can't picture it, use your imagination, as this is the only time it will be described. Yugao dived over everyone and covered Naruto's eyes. Naruto, he's not worth it, said Yugao, placing a hand on Naruto's shoulder. Naruto took a deep breath and nodded to Yugao, who uncovered his eyes, which were back to normal. Come on, let's go, we don't need anyone else attacking us, said Yugao, turning to the bridge builder. Right, follow me, said Tazuna, leading the 6-leaf ninja away from the clearing. Naruto walked in front with Yugao. As they were walking through the forest, Kakashi walked up to Naruto. So Naruto, that was a good fight with Zabuza. Nicely done, said Kakashi in a happy tone. Fuck off, Hatake, spat Naruto. Whoa, what's with all the hostility? Asked Kakashi. You know damn well, dog-san, said Naruto. Kakashi and Yugao looked shocked. Naruto just continued walking. Kakashi jogged to catch up to Naruto and went to grab him by the shoulder, only for his hand to be blocked by Naruto's sand. and in one smooth motion Naruto spun around, punched Kakashi in the gut, then slapped him on the forehead, making a sealing array appear there. The instant it did, Kakashi's head dropped to the ground. "Don't touch me, Hatake," said Naruto as he walked off. "What did you do to him?" asked Yugao, who ran to catch up with Naruto. "Wait, seal on the forehead, it's the least he deserves," said Naruto. "So what did he do?" asked Yugao. "You're actually asking?" questioned Naruto. "Well, yeah," said Yugao. "Think back to the days you were in ANBU assigned to watch over me," said Naruto, getting a nod from the woman. "Now what was your job?" asked Naruto. "To keep you from harm at the villagers' hands," said Yugao. "Good, now what happened when you weren't watching me?" asked Naruto. Yugao's eyes narrowed. "How do you know it was him?" asked Yugao. "How many people in the Leaf Village have that color hair and that style?" asked Naruto. "Damn you, Kakashi," growled Yugao. The two continued walking towards the Wave Village. As they came out of the forest, they saw a town that literally looked like a junk heap. They saw very few people in the streets, decided that both having memorized Tazuna's chakra signature, they would explore the town. They walked around for a bit. As they walked towards the town's center, something caught Naruto's attention. Naruto turned and saw a girl with sandy blonde hair, which was gathered into 4 ponytails. She wore a single light purple-colored, off-the-shoulders garment that extended to halfway down her thighs, with a scarlet sash tied around her waist. In addition to incorporating fishnet worn over her shoulders and legs, specifically on her right calf and her left thigh, she also wore her black forehead protector around her neck. The girl had her back to them. "Temari-chan?" yelled Naruto. "That voice, Naruto-kun?" questioned the girl, turning to face Naruto, revealing her teal-colored eyes. "Temari-chan, it is you," said Naruto as he jogged up to the girl and hugged her. "Naruto-kun, it's great to see you," said Temari, returning the hug. "Ahem?" called Yugao from behind Naruto. "Right, introductions, Temari, this is my sensei Yugao," said Naruto, pointing to Yugao. "Yugao-sensei, this is my friend Temari," said Naruto. Naruto stood with Temari and Yugao looking at the almost complete bridge. It had been 5 days since they got to the wave. Temari had revealed that she and her team were on their way to Konoha when she was separated from them in a sandstorm. Naruto and Yugao had both agreed that Temari could come back with them. Yugao and Naruto had been assigned to watch the bridge's construction, and Temari refused to stay with Kakashi's team or stay at Tazuna's house, so for the duration of the wave mission she was a part of Team 11. It was now mid-afternoon. Tazuna had just called it a day. "Alright, Tazuna-me, Yugao-sensei and Temari-chan are going to check something out, so I'm going to have my clones escort you home, okay?" asked Naruto. "Sure, kid, just be back before dark," said Tazuna, getting a nod from the trio. Naruto then created 20 clones that started to escort Tazuna home, while Naruto led Yugao and Temari to the northeast of the island. "So where is this calling coming from, Naruto?" asked Yugao. "Ever since entering Wave Country, Naruto has felt as if something is calling to him." "This way," said Naruto, pointing out over the ocean. Naruto called Kushina. "Yeah, Mum, what is it?" asked Naruto. "I think I know what's calling to you," said Kushina. "Yeah, it's about the right location," said Goku. What is it?" asked Naruto. "Our homeland Yuzushiogakure," said Kushina. "Use my sand to make platforms for you, your teacher, and your girlfriend. It'll be easier," said Shikaku. "Okay, and she's not my girlfriend, at least not yet though." Naruto, the gourd of sand on his back dissolved, creating a large cloud of sand which then split into 3 smaller ones. "Well, come on, you two, hop on one," said Naruto, jumping on one of the sand clouds. Yugao jumped onto another one while Temari climbed on to the last. "So Naruto, what did they have to say?" asked Yugao. "Huh?" questioned Naruto. "Your tenants, you stopped responding from a moment, that usually indicates you're talking with them," said Yugao. "Naruto-kun, what does she mean, tenants?" asked Temari. Naruto sighed. He knew this was coming, he would have to tell her eventually. "Temari, I am what people call a Jinchuriki," said Naruto. Temari's hair shadowed her eyes. "Which one?" asked Temari. "Ichibi, Yambi, and Kyubi," said Naruto. "3?" screamed Temari. "Not only that," said Naruto, drawing Shadow Star. "You see this sword?" questioned Naruto. "Yeah, what about it?" asked Temari. "It has sealed within it the soul of my mother," said Naruto. Temari looked at Naruto shocked. "Yeah, after I took an interest in sealing, I found that there was a piece of my mother's soul in the seal holding back the tailed beast, so I extracted it and sealed it in the sword. Now I have my mother in my mind, as well as 3 great and powerful beasts," said Naruto. "Why didn't you tell me?" asked Temari, hurt obvious in her tone. I didn't want to lose one of my first friends, said Naruto, looking away from Temari. Naruto then heard someone jumping of the sand and sighed, thinking Temari had left, only then to be pulled into a hug. That doesn't change a thing, Naruto, I'm still your friend, whispered Temari, who was now hugging the blonde Jinchuriki. Naruto wrapped his arms around Temari and smiled. Thanks, Temari-chan, said Naruto. Temari kissed Naruto's forehead. It's okay, said Temari. So you didn't answer me, Naruto said Yugao after a moment. Right, well, Ka-chan thinks it might be Yuzushi-Ogakure, and Goku agrees, said Naruto. Right, so we're looking for an island surrounded by whirlpools, said Yugao. Yes, said Naruto. The three floated by dust cloud for about an hour until an island came into view. Not much could be seen of the island, as around the outside there were huge mountains, and around the island itself there were lots of whirlpools. The sand clouds that the trio was standing on headed to the only part of the outer edge of the island that wasn't mountain and dropped the trio down before the sand retreated into the gourd. Well, this is the place, said Naruto, taking a step forwards. The three then headed through the forest towards the actual village. The trio walked for about 5 minutes through the forest. Once out of the forest, they were met with a huge majestic steel gate with an Uzumaki crest in the center. Naruto walked up to the gate and pushed on it. But unlike he had suspected, the gate didn't swing open. Instead, it simply fell off its hinges and fell to the ground, and the trio were greeted by the ruins of Yuzu. Naruto took a step forwards before something instantly caught his attention. It was a headband. The metal was sparkling in the sun. Naruto walked up to it, and saw it was a Yuzu headband still tied proudly to the skull of a dead man. Naruto walked up to it, and knelt down. You may rest now, brother, you fought well, said Naruto. A tear dropped from Naruto's eye. Naruto stood back up. Shadow Clone Jutsu, said Naruto, creating several thousand shadow clones. Collect all the remains of Uzumaki and take them to the tower. Leave the headbands. Take any weapons you find, said Naruto, turning around, his hair shadowing his eyes. The clones took off to do their assigned tasks. Naruto continued to look at the floor. Temari walked up to him, and in the blink of an eye she was hugging him. Naruto burst out crying and clung to Temari. Temari just whispered words of comfort to the crying blonde. After a few moments, Naruto's crying died down to choked sobs, then stopped entirely. Thanks, Temari-chan, whimpered Naruto. It's okay, Naruto-kun, said Temari. Naruto stood up and rubbed his eyes before walking around the village, followed by Temari and Yugao. The trio walked around the village. They found 3 streams which all lead to the center of the village, where there was a tower which was visible from all points of the village. Once they had explored the village, they all headed towards the tower in the center, as Naruto had just received memories from his clones that had dispelled after having collected all of the Uzumaki bodies. They got to the tower to see it was over a raging whirlpool. Once they walked inside, they found about 5 rows of 100 skeletons. Naruto looked over his fallen brethren and smirked. Uzumakis are so awesome, said Naruto. Both other living occupants of the room smiled at Naruto, both knowing what he meant. Naruto looked over to a table and saw lots of weapons on the table, ranging from bows and arrows to blow guns and blow darts. From katanas to kunai, basically any weapon you could think of, they were there. Naruto sealed all the weapons into a sealing scroll before walking over to a set of stairs going down. Once they walked down, they found a vault that was sealed shut. Wow, just wow, said Yugao, looking at the huge sealing array on the door. Yes, said Naruto as he studied the array for a few moments. How that's funny, said Naruto. What? Asked Temari. Well, only this section here, said Naruto, pointing to a small 30-centimeter circle in the center of the door. Is the only bit that actually does anything. The rest is just to confuse anyone but an Uzumaki, said Naruto, pulling out a kunai which slightly confused Yugao and Temari until Naruto took the kunai to his hand and sliced his palm. Naruto then placed his bloody palm on the door and pulsed chakra through the door. Please, 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 repeated Naruto until he heard a distinctive click sound and the doors swung open. Alright, you two, this part one have to do on my own, said Naruto as he stepped into the dark. Be careful, Naruto-kun, called Temari with severe concern in her voice. Once Yugao could no longer sense Naruto within the near vicinity, she turned to Temari. You love him, don't you? Questioned Yugao. I stuttered Temari. With Naruto. Naruto was walking in the dark. He could only see due to his heightened senses thanks to his tenants. As he turned a corner, he found that the next area was completely lit up. As Naruto walked into the room, he saw hundreds of scrolls lining shelves, all categorized. The ones there were most of were Fuinjutsu with about 40% of the scrolls, followed by Kenjutsu with 30 roughly percent, then Ninjutsu with approximately 20% of the scrolls, followed by Taijutsu with around 7%, leaving the 3 remaining percent for Genjutsu scrolls. As Naruto walked along the Ninjutsu section, he found it was divided further: 25% water, 15% wind, 10% lightning, earth and fire, 9% for lava, ice and wood, leaving 3% non-elemental. The two scrolls that caught Naruto's attention were two in two separate glass cases that were lit up. Naruto walked over to the cases and put his hand on one, and his mind flashed with images of battlefield with redheads fighting many battles with large jaguars. All sorts of colors and patterns. Then the images flashed to jaguars with scrolls, people riding jaguars, and all sorts of other things until Naruto was assaulted by an image of a black jaguar's face. Once Naruto came back to reality, he opened the case and pulled out the scroll. Before attempting to open the other case, Naruto created a shadow clone. "Here's a sealing scroll, seal everything here into it," said Naruto. His clone nodded before walking off. Naruto first strapped the scroll he pulled out of the case to his back before then placing his hand on the second glass case. Again Naruto's mind was assaulted by images, this time of wolves, basically the same ones as the jaguar ones except with wolves instead. Once he regained his senses, he found his shadow clone about half done. "Once you're done, come up and give me the scroll," said Naruto. The clone nodded. Naruto walked back to his sensei and his friend with the two large scrolls on his back. "Oh, Naruto-kun, you're back," said Temari. "What's with the scrolls?" asked Yugao. "I'm fairly sure they're summoning contracts," said Naruto. "Haven't you already got 2 summoning contracts?" asked Yugao. "Yeah, but these are my clan contracts. Even if I had to give up my others, I would," said Naruto. "You have more than one?" screamed Temari. "Yep, these represent them," said Naruto, pointed to his upper right arm. "So what, falcon and snakes?" questioned Temari. Naruto nodded. "A boss catch," said the Naruto clone, chucking Naruto the scroll. Naruto caught the scroll without even turning his head. "What's in that?" asked Yugao. "The Uzumaki clan jutsu library," said Naruto, walking up and the staircase, followed Temari and Yugao. Yugao was almost feeling like a third wheel here, but she had come along to make sure Naruto and Temari didn't get into trouble. The trio made it back to the ground floor of the tower. The three of them then went up the set of stairs on the other side of the room and followed them up to the top of the tower. Almost at the top, the trio stopped when they saw a door. Naruto opened the door and the three walked in. It was an office of sorts. There was a desk with 1 chair behind it, and 2 in front of it. Naruto walked over to the desk and found a black journal on it. He started to read it while Temari and Yugao looked around the office. Temari and Naruto looked at Yugao when they heard her gasp. The two looked at what she was looking at and saw a row of 4 pictures on the wall. The first was a woman with her red hair tied up into 2 buns. She had pupilless back and she had a purple diamond on her forehead. The next one along was a man with short, spiky red hair, golden eyes, and 3 claw marks across his face. The third was another man. He had emerald green eyes with a claw mark over his right eye. His red hair was styled into a mohawk. The last was a woman. She looked almost identical to Kushina, the only exception being the different colored eyes, the woman in the picture having a blue right eye and green left. "Ka-chan, do you know that woman?" questioned Naruto mentally. "It's my mother. Those 4 are the past clan heads. I'd be up there if I hadn't been taken to Konoha to become the second Jinchuriki of Kurama," said Kushina. "That almost looks like Kushina-sensei," said Yugao. "That's because she's her mother," said Naruto. "Sensei, would you be so kind as to take those pictures down for me?" questioned Naruto. "I won't be able to reach them," said Naruto. Yugao smiled and pulled the 4 pictures off the wall and put them on the desk. Naruto took out a scroll, then pulled all the books out of the bookshelves, putting all the books, minus the black journal, along with the 4 pictures on the scroll. He sealed them all in it. Naruto then grabbed the black journal and the 3 continued looking. Naruto sat at the Wave family's table eating his food. He, Yugao, and Temari had only gotten back about an hour ago, and Naruto hadn't touched anything he got because he knew if Sasuke saw it he would bitch and moan, saying any and everything Naruto found should be his, as he is an Uchiha, completely ignoring Naruto's lecture about the fact that Naruto is more Uchiha than Sasuke would ever be. Naruto just calmly ate his food and he planned to go through the stuff he got later when all of Team 7 had gone to bed, because Naruto didn't trust either. "Why do you even try?" spoke Inari, Tazuna's grandson. "You're all just going to die anyway. No one can beat Gato," said Inari. "No one's unbeatable," said Naruto. "Gato is he's too strong. No one can beat him, so just go home back to your happy lives in a village far away with no problems in your world," shouted Inari. The second those words left his mouth, the entire room's temperature dropped about 10 degrees. Naruto stood up quickly, and in such a way no one could see his eyes. "If you'll excuse me," said Naruto as he walked out of the room and out of the house without another word. "What's his problem?" questioned Inari snidely. You little shit, oh boo-hoo, you lost your father, and your village is in a small bind, boo-hoo," said Temari. "You don't know what pain is," yelled Inari. "Yes, I'll admit that I don't, but you don't either." Naruto has lived 15 years of his life in a village where almost everyone would like to murder him in his sleep. He had no family, and no friends for a very long time. He had to live on the street for several years, eating food out of the garbage, living in a box, and every other night he would be beaten to a bloody pulp, all for something he had no control over. So when you say we know nothing of pain, remember there is always someone somewhere. Worse off than you, said Temari. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a friend to find so he doesn't kill himself or worse, said Temari, running out of the room. Did that boy really have a childhood like that? Questioned Tsunami Tazuna's daughter. No, it was much, much worse, said Yugao. Meanwhile, with Naruto. Naruto stood in a clearing with his swords in his hands. Amaterasu called Naruto as his eyes morphed into his EMS form, lighting a tree on fire. Naruto then dashed forwards. Santorio Onigiri called Naruto as he slashed at the same tree into many pieces. Naruto willed the sand out of his gourd, directing it over to another tree. Sand coffin, said Naruto as the sand wrapped around the base of the tree. Sand burial, said Naruto as the sand crushed the tree. Naruto made a horse hand sign. Fire style, great fire annihilation, called Naruto, breathing out a stream of fire that was several meters long and about twice as wide, burning several trees in the area. Water style, water dragon jutsu, called Naruto as a water dragon formed out of thin air and flew at the still burning trees. Lava style, lava globs, called Naruto, shooting several large globs of lava at the trees. Wind style, sonic boom, called Naruto as he clapped his hands together, creating a shockwave that shot forward, slicing several trees in half. Naruto's four tenants were worried for him but didn't know what to say to make him stop. Naruto-kun, called the soft voice of Temari from behind him. That'll do it, thought all four of Naruto's tenants simultaneously. Temari-chan, said Naruto as he turned to face her. Naruto-kun, calm down, said Temari, dropping from the tree she was standing in. Naruto took a couple of deep breaths before smiling at Temari, who smiled back. Naruto then sat down under a nearby tree. Temari sat down next to him before leaning on his shoulder. Remember when we first met, said Naruto, looking up at the stars. Yes, said Temari. Flashback. A 5-year-old Naruto was walking into Suna with trying to hide behind the Hokage's legs as he walked. Naruto and Hiruzen were flanked by a few Jonin ninja. They all walked past Suna's gates to see a man with auburn hair and black eyes. He wore a simple black jacket and pants with mesh armor underneath. Naruto looked at the 3 children next to the man. One, the girl among the trio, had sunny blonde hair tied into 2 pigtails. She had teal eyes and wore a lilac-colored shirt and white pants. The second child was a boy. He wore a suit that made him greatly resemble a cat. He had black eyes, but Naruto couldn't see the boy's hair. The last boy had red hair, cyan eyes, and black rings around his eyes. He wore black pants and a light green coat. Naruto retreated further behind the Hokage as the man in front of them looked at him. Hokage Dano, who is this? Asked the man in a genuinely curious tone of voice. I apologize for not notifying you, Kazekage Dano. This is Naruto Uzumaki, said Hiruzen, pointing to the child. The 4 people in front them looked at Naruto with a studying gaze, while Naruto shrunk under their gaze. The red-haired boy walked up to Naruto. Hello, my name is Gaara, said the boy. Hello, said Naruto timidly. You want to comply with me? Asked Gaara. Naruto looked at the red-haired boy who was smiling. Okay, said Naruto, following Gaara. The other 2 children followed after them as well. The 4 children wailed to a nearby park once their Gaara turned to Naruto. So what do you want to play? Asked Gaara. I don't know any games, said Naruto. Why not? Asked the girl, confused. I've never played with any other kids, muttered Naruto. Alright, how about hide and seek, said Gaara. Naruto looked confused. Basically, one person counts to a number while the rest hide. Once the counter finishes counting, they look for the hiding people, said the girl. The last person hidden wins and the first to get found then becomes the counter, said the boy. Okay, sounds good, said Naruto. Great, said Gaara. Boundaries? Questioned the older boy. Stay inside the park, said Gaara. How far are we counting? Asked the girl. How about 20, said Gaara. The children nodded. I'll count, said Gaara, turning around and shutting his eyes. 1, 2, 3, said Gaara. The 2 other kids were already running off to find a hiding spot. Naruto just hid behind a bush. The 4 children played several games for hours. Naruto found out the girl's name was Temari and the boy's name was Kankuro, and those 2 along with Gaara were siblings. It was now late, and Naruto, along with the Sand siblings, as he called them, were walking back to the Kazekage Tower to see if the meeting was over. When they got there, they found it wasn't. What are we going to do now? Asked Kankuro. Do you guys know any high places around here? Questioned Naruto. Well, the top of this tower is pretty high up, said Temari. Great, let's go, said Naruto, walking up the stairs followed by the other 3. Once they got to the top of the tower, they all looked out over the village. Wow, said Naruto. So why did we need to be someplace high, Naruto? Asked Temari. Naruto turned to her, then looked up. That's why, said Naruto, pointing up. Beautiful, said Temari. Flashback end. The stars are just as beautiful as back then, said Temari. Not as beautiful as you, Temari-chan, said Naruto. Na Naruto-kun? Questioned Temari, looking at the blonde, a blush coloring her cheeks. Yes, Temari-chan? Questioned Naruto, looking at the girl. He had a smile on his face which made Temari blush even more. She smiled and closed the distance between them, capturing his lips with her own. The kiss lasted little more than a second. As Temari pulled her lips away, Naruto pulled her back into another lip lock. Once the two parted, Temari shifted herself so she was sitting in Naruto's lap with her head on his shoulder. Naruto wrapped his arms around her as the two just gazed at the stars. The two both slowly yielded to the calling for sleep and fell asleep, still in the same position under the tree. The next morning Naruto awoke first. He made a shadow clone and quickly substituted with it. Naruto then went for a little walk into the forest. As Naruto walked, he saw a feminine-looking boy picking some herbs. Good morning there, said Naruto, walking up to the boy. Oh, hello, said the boy, turning around to look at Naruto. Kid, you do know that's the Hunter Nin, right? Questioned Kyubi mentally. Yeah, I know, but if you were paying close attention you would feel what I do, replied Naruto. So what are you doing out here so early? Asked the boy. Well, last night I was training and must have fallen asleep, said Naruto. Oh, so you're a ninja then? Questioned the boy. Yeah, Genin Naruto Uzumaki, at your service, said Naruto. Well, it's nice meeting you, Naruto-san. My name is Haku, said the boy, now dubbed Haku. Would you like some help? Asked Naruto, pointing to the basket of herbs in Haku's hand. If you wouldn't mind, said Haku. Naruto nodded and started helping Haku pick herbs. So Naruto-san, do you have someone precious to you? Asked Haku. Naruto thought about it for a moment. Yes, I have several, said Naruto with a smile. That's good. I believe when you're protecting someone precious, that is when we become truly strong, said Haku. Is that why you're picking herbs, to help someone precious to you? Asked Naruto. Yes, he's a man I owe my life to. He saved me from a life on the streets. This is the least I can do to repay him, said Haku. He sounds like an honorable man, so why is he working for Gato? Asked Naruto. Beg your pardon, said Haku. Haku, don't play dumb. I know you're the Hunter Nin, and I have known since I found you. Just tell me, why is Zabuza working for Gato? Questioned Naruto with a serious look on his face. He needs the money to fund his second attempt to topple the Yondaime Mizuki, said Haku. Yagura of the Bloody Mist, muttered Naruto. Yes, him, said Haku. I need to speak to Zabuza, said Naruto. Not going to happen, said Haku, standing up and starting to walk away. Haku, said Naruto. Haku stopped and turned. If you won't let me speak to him in person, then would a letter be any better? Questioned Naruto. Alright, fine, said Haku. Thank you, said Naruto as he pulled out a piece of paper and proceeded to write on it before handing it to Haku. Thank you, Haku, said Naruto, walking away. Farewell, Naruto-san, said Haku. I hope we meet again, just not on the battlefield, Haku, said Naruto, walking away back towards Temari. Once Naruto got back, he found Temari in a battle stance with her fan at the ready. In the blink of an eye, she swung her fan in a massive arc. Wind-style wind scythe jutsu, called Temari as wind shot of her fan in a wave, slicing several trees in its path. Nicely done, said Naruto, clapping. Temari turned to him, then looked from Naruto to his clone and back again. Am I missing something? Questioned Temari, looking at the clones. The second Naruto burst into a cloud of smoke. Oh right, shadow clones, my bad, said Temari, looking sheepish. Well, let's go. Yugao-sensei is probably getting worried now, said Naruto. Meanwhile, with Haku. Haku had just walked back into the base that he and Zabuza were using. Zabuza-sama, I'm back, said Haku. What the hell took you so long? Questioned an angry Zabuza. I came across one of the leaf ninjas, said Haku. Oh, which one? Asked Zabuza. The blonde one who worked out that I was the Hunter Nin and asked me to give you this, said Haku, handing the piece of paper Naruto wrote on. What the hell could he want? Questioned Zabuza as he started reading the letter. Interesting, muttered Zabuza. Did you read this? Asked Zabuza. Haku shook his head. Read it, said Zabuza, handing the note back to Haku, who then read it. Is he serious? Questioned Haku. You tell me, said Zabuza. Well, the Hunter Nin after us have died down recently, said Haku. Read a bit further, said Zabuza. Haku nodded and did as instructed. How did he know that? Questioned Haku, looking very concerned. You didn't tell him, give him the slightest hint, nothing? Questioned Zabuza. No, I didn't tell him about that, said Haku. Things are getting interesting, muttered Zabuza. Naruto walked towards the bridge with all of the Leaf, Nin, and Temari. He was keeping a close eye on Kakashi and his team. Naruto had left a couple of shadow clones back at Tazuna's house in case Gato tried something. Oh, look at the very inconspicuous mist that is covering the bridge, and just the bridge, yelled Naruto sarcastically as the group drew near the bridge to see it covered in mist. Oh haha, you're so funny, said a sarcastic Zabuza from inside the mist. Temari, Sakura, and Sai stood back with Tazuna as Kakashi, Sasuke, Yugao, and Naruto walked forwards. So did you think about my proposition? Questioned Naruto. The mist lit up a bit to reveal Zabuza in battle attire, and the same with Haku. I did, and I came to the conclusion that if you and one of the other Leaf Nin can beat us, we'll accept, said Zabuza. Yugao-sensei, care to help me? Questioned Naruto. Sure, said Yugao. You two aren't fighting Zabuza and his apprentice Sasuke and I are, said Kakashi as he stepped forwards. Too bad, Hatake, this is now my fight, so get lost or get cooked, said Naruto as a second Naruto appeared beside Naruto facing Kakashi and Sasuke, who both had their Sharingan revealed. The Naruto clone revealed his EMS. Come at me, I dare you, said the clone. Sasuke froze at the sight of Naruto's EMS. Kakashi backed up. Smart choice, said the real Naruto. Both Kakashi and Sasuke jumped back as Naruto faced the ground with his eyes shut, cracking his neck. Well, Zabuza, Haku, said Naruto before his head snapped up to face the two of them. Let's dance, said Naruto, his eyes glowing with his EMS as the gourd on his back shattered into sand. Zabuza grinned psychotically before launching off the bridge at Naruto, brining his huge blade down on the blonde, only for his blade to be stopped, but not by Naruto, by Yugao. You've already had a crack at Naruto, I want to face a Miss Swordsman blade to blade, said Yugao. Besides, I wish to have a conversation with my kinsman, said Naruto, leaping at Haku, who pulled out several Senbon to block the incoming attack of Naruto. With Yugao and Zabuza. The two blades were locked as Zabuza tried to overpower Yugao. Your fighting style reminds me of a woman I once had the pleasure of fighting, said Zabuza as he leapt back from Yugao, who leapt back from him. Oh yeah, who would that be? Questioned Yugao as she went for a lower to higher diagonal slice, only for Zabuza to block with his sword. Zabuza then went to punch Yugao in the face, only for the woman to jump to the side and run at him again. The woman was Kushina Uzumaki, do you know of her? Questioned Zabuza. Dance of the Crescent Moon, called Yugao. In an instant, two shadow clones materialized beside her. One took off left, the other took off, and Yugao rushes forwards at high speeds, before jumping up and bringing her sword down on Zabuza, and in the same instant the two shadow clones stabbed the man in the sides. Zabuza then fell to pieces after turning into water. Yes, I know Kushina, she was my sensei, she taught me all I know about swords, said Yugao, blocking the attack from Zabuza from behind her. Interesting, said Zabuza, who jumped back after his blade was blocked before vanishing into the mist. Your little mist trick won't work on me, said Yugao, spinning around, and as she did she pegged a kunai at a patch of mist. Fuck, that hurt, growled Zabuza as he came back into view with a cut on his shoulder. I hate Sensor Ninja, muttered Zabuza, going thought some hand signs, as did Yugao. Water style water dragon jutsu, called Yugao and Zabuza milliseconds apart. A pair of water dragons formed and lunged at each other, canceling each other out. Black dance of the full moon, called Yugao as four shadow clones appeared beside her. One took off to behind Zabuza, two taking each side of him, and then one in front of him. Zabuza was confused slightly from the technique. The four Yugao clones started to run. They ran in a circle around Zabuza. They ran so fast that they became a blur, and a split second after that Zabuza was getting slashed at. The Yugao clones ran in circles, then darted into the center, cutting at Zabuza as they went. Zabuza used his blade to block but was still getting cuts. Then it just stopped. He looked up and saw all the clones gone. Zabuza's instincts told him to move. Damn good thing her followed his instincts, because just after he rolled to his left, Yugao's sword landed where his head was previously. That's it, lady, you've pissed me off, said Zabuza. He did a couple of hand signs and three water clones appeared beside him. Water style water needle jutsu, shouted one of the clones after doing hand signs. Thousands of water needles shot towards Yugao. Water style water dragon jutsu, called another clone, launching a dragon at Yugao. Water style water shark bomb jutsu, called the third clone, a shark forming out of water before flying at Yugao at high speeds. Yugao skillfully jumped over all the water needles, landed on the back of the dragon, and ran down it, then jumped onto the water shark before stabbing it in the head with her sword, only to be bifurcated by Zabuza's massive blade. Zabuza smirked. But it dropped in less than a second when he saw a log that had been cut in two in place of Yugao. Damn it, muttered Zabuza. before swinging his massive blade around and dispatching a clone of Yugao that tried to sneak up on him. Yugao then leapt from her hiding place and ran at Zabuza. The two once again locked blades. "You're the most skilled person that I have fought in a long time," said Yugao as she jumped back. "What about that blonde kid, he's good?" questioned Zabuza, blocking a sideways slash with his massive blade. "Naruto doesn't count, he is my apprentice, and most times in straight-up kenjutsu battles I still beat him," said Yugao, flipping to the side. "Right then," said Zabuza, jumping back a bit. The two once again lunged at each other, looking for an opportunity to gain the upper hand. Zabuza brought his sword down on Yugao, who spun to the side and went to stab Zabuza, only to discover that the Zabuza in front of her was a clone. Yugao was split down the center by Zabuza, only to discover that she was merely a shadow clone. Water-style twin water dragon jutsu, called Yugao, as two water dragons formed out of the river going under the bridge that flew at Zabuza, who ran forwards and slid under the two dragons as they crashed on the bridge behind him. Zabuza then had to roll to the side to avoid another attack to his head. Zabuza jumped to his feet to avoid the barrage of shuriken that his where he had been laying. Zabuza then charged at Yugao, hacking and slashing at her. She blocked most of the attacks but was still getting hit every once in a while, leaving her arms and legs with some shallow cuts on them. "Nicely done," said Yugao as she held her sword in a defensive stance. Zabuza smirked. "I haven't had this much fun in years," said Zabuza, dashing forwards with his sword at his side, stopping just in front of Yugao and attempting an upwards diagonal slash, only for Yugao to get a foot in the hole in Zabuza's sword and knocking it out of his grip before she then grabbed his wrist, turned him around and held a blade at his throat. Zabuza had been disarmed and was now facing away from Yugao with one hand held by hers and a sword at his throat. "Do you yield?" questioned Yugao. Before Zabuza could answer, everyone heard clapping and Haku with Naruto appeared beside the two jonin. With Naruto and Haku a few moments prior. Naruto ran at Haku, who had two Senbon out to defend himself with Naruto's sand followed him closely. Naruto quickly drew Shadow Star as he blocked several Senbon lobbed at him by Haku. "Did Zabuza show you the letter?" questioned Naruto as he sliced the Senbon in two. "Yes, were you telling the truth?" questioned Haku as he jumped back from a downward slash from Naruto's katana. "I know I have Yuki blood in my veins," said Naruto, neglecting to inform Haku of the fact that Kushina told him she was part Yuki and therefore so was he. "So I do still have some actual family in this world," muttered Haku as he lobbed several Senbon at Naruto, only for the Senbon to be blocked by Naruto's sand. "1,000 flying water needles of death," called Haku as 1,000 Senbon formed of water and flew at Naruto. Naruto's sand formed a dome around him, and the sand turned slightly red as the needles hit it. They turned into steam. "What the?" questioned Haku as he jumped back as the sand returned to its brown color then fell to the ground. "You like?" questioned Naruto as he leapt forwards with his sword above his head. "Ice-style ice dome," called Haku after performing hand signs. A dome of ice formed and protected Haku from Naruto's downward slash. "Interesting, let's see how you handle this," said Naruto, sheathing his sword. "Striking shadow snakes," called Naruto as he pointed his left hand at Haku. About 5 snakes then shot out of the boy's sleeve and went towards Haku, who threw Senbon into the open mouths of the snakes and rolled out of the way of the attack. "Uzumaki art chain web," called Naruto as chains shot out of his back and turned into the ground, shooting out just in front of Haku, creating a web-like pattern around Haku. Haku made a hand sign and what looked like a mirror of ice formed and Haku leapt into it before he could be crushed by the Chien web. Naruto ducked under the kick that came from Haku, who appeared out of another ice mirror behind Naruto. Naruto then launched a kick at Haku's gut, only for Haku to crack and then shatter into ice. Ice clone, interesting," said Naruto, turning back to face the real Haku. "Well, looks like I have one choice left," said Haku as he went through hand signs. "Demonic mirroring ice crystals," called Haku as 21 ice mirrors formed around Naruto, 12 at ground level, 8 above that, and then 1 on top facing down. Haku then jumped into one of the mirrors. "This looks interesting," said Naruto. In the blink of an eye, Haku launched out of a mirror, threw about 10 Senbon at Naruto, and was back in another mirror. It was only then that Haku noticed no Senbon in Naruto's skin. "It's very hard to get past my sand. I won't say impossible, but I will say very hard," said Naruto from behind his sand wall. Haku growled. This jutsu had always been his ace in the hole. "Well, it's ice, let's see how fire dose," muttered Naruto, going through hand signs. "Fire-style fireball jutsu," called Naruto as he breathed a reasonable size fireball out. It then flew towards Haku's mirrors where it exploded. "Nice try, but this ice is almost impossible to melt," said Haku, taking slightly deeper breaths than normal. "Chakra exhausting from the looks of it," thought Naruto. "Fine, let's try a little bit hotter fire," said Naruto, creating a horse hand sign. "Fire-style great fire annihilation," called Naruto as he breathed out a continuous line of fire that was about 2 meters wide that flew towards Haku's ice mirrors. Haku stopped his technique and jumped away from the wall of fire. Naruto sighed and stopped his technique. He was hoping to test the ice mirror some more, but that would have to wait. Naruto waited for Haku to make the next move. He didn't have to wait long as Tensaban came flying at the mostly blonde boy. Naruto ducked under the projectiles. Ice-style Ice Dragon Jutsu called Naruto. After completing hand signs, the dragon of ice formed and flew at Haku, who jumped back just as the dragon hit the bridge. "You can use ice?" almost screamed Haku. "Ice-style Frost Breath," said Naruto as he breathed out a cloud of sparkling something. Haku didn't know what it was, so he decided running from it was the best, and so he did. Haku leapt to the side as Naruto's attack passed him. Before Naruto's knee hit him in the chest, Haku was sent back several meters from the force of the knee. Haku stood up shakily and immediately coughed up some blood. Haku ducked under a punch and went to grab Naruto's wrist, only for his hand to be stopped by Naruto's sand, which then wrapped around him. Haku jumped back, slicing at Naruto's sand with a kunai. The sand fell back to the ground before retreating to Naruto. Naruto then willed the sand forwards, trying to catch Haku, who was too exhausted to dodge. Haku's leg was caught by the sand. "Sand coffin," said Naruto as his sand crawled up Haku's leg and covered his entire being. "Yield, Haku, or you will die, and I don't want the blood of my own kinsman on my hands," said Naruto. Haku nodded, and Naruto's sand receded from Haku. The duo then heard clapping from the end of the bridge, and quickly jumped back to their sensei. Once they landed, they saw Yugao holding one of Zabuza's hands out to the side while holding her blade to his throat. "Yes, yes, kill him," called a voice from the end of the bridge. "Gato," growled Zabuza. Yugao lowered her blade from his throat. Naruto stomped on Zabuza's blade, flicking it up into his hands before then lobbing it to Zabuza. "Thanks, kid," said Zabuza. Naruto nodded. The mist cleared up to reveal several hundred bandits standing in front of him. "Damn it, why aren't you killing each other?" growled Gato. No matter, my friends here, we're all hired for the same price as you, Zabuza, and they'll have a lot more success than you have," said Gato, laughing a maniacal laugh. The four ninja on the bridge growled, but Naruto stepped forwards. "Bandits are mine, you can have," Gato said. Naruto. "Kill the men, bring me the woman," ordered Gato, grinning. The bandits stepped forwards with perverted smirks on their faces. "Time to die," said one bandit. "For you," growled Naruto in a demonic tone of voice, before creating a single hand sign. "Fire style, great fire annihilation," roared Naruto as flames spewed from the boy's mouth, shooting the bridge and was as wide. The flames ate the bandits alive, incinerating them, burning the ashes to ashes in the blink of an eye, and in under a minute the only one left standing was Gato. Naruto turned. "All yours, Zabuza," said Naruto, walking away. Zabuza then lunged at the short, fat businessman. It was a fine sunny day in Fire Country, and 5 figures could be seen walking along the main road to Konoha. These 5 figures were Naruto, Zabuza, Haku, Temari, and Yugao. The 5 of them had left Wave Country the day after the battle on the bridge. Yugao felt, given that Zabuza had eliminated the main threat, they could leave Kakashi's team with the cleanup. That and the fact that Temari had needed to be at Konoha about a week prior. Naruto had already sent word to the Hokage for his plans with Zabuza and Haku, actually having a summons ask after he gave Haku the letter. So now the 5 were headed to Konoha. The group walked at a leisurely pace for ninja, full sprint for civilians. Towards Konoha they dabbled in light conversation, but nothing lasted, so they all settled for listening to the sounds of nature. "So Naruto, what's Konoha like?" questioned Haku, breaking the hour of silence. "I'm not sure I'm the best person to ask about that," Haku said. Naruto. "Why?" asked Haku. "I've only seen the darker side of Konoha, the dark underbelly of the sunny village that everyone thinks Konoha is," said Naruto, sadly looking off into the distance. It was now that Zabuza decided to ask something. "So is the blondie a Jinchuriki?" whispered Zabuza to Yugao. "Yes," said Naruto, confusing Haku and Temari. "Zabuza, you would have to be a lot further away for me not to hear you whispering," said Naruto, not even turning to face the man. "Do you mind if I ask you which one?" questioned Zabuza. "As," said Naruto. "Beg pardon?" questioned Zabuza. "Not one," said Naruto. Zabuza blinked. "You mean you contain more than one?" questioned Zabuza. "3 to be precise," said Naruto, as the gates of Konoha came into view. Once the gates came into clear view, they could see that the Hokage was there with several ANBU agents. "I have already informed the Hokage about you two. The ANBU are here to take you to interrogation," Zabuza said. Naruto. Zabuza nodded, handing his sword to Naruto. "You're taking care of my sword till I'm out, Gaki," said Zabuza. Naruto nodded and sealed the sword away. "Hello, Zabuza-san, welcome to the Leaf Village. Now will you please go with the ANBU to interrogation? Oh, and your apprentice to," said Hiruzen as the group of 5 walked up to the gates. "Yes, Hokage-sama," said Zabuza, bowing to the man. Then he and Haku followed the ANBU away. "Only you, Naruto, could change the heart of an enemy in their territory," said Hiruzen. What can I say? Questioned Naruto, shrugging. Well, I'll expect a report from you at some stage, but for now I believe you have some people wanting to see you, said Hiruzen with a smile as he spotted Temari with the Leaf Duo. And it looks like the missing one had found you while out on your mission, said Hiruzen, smiling down at the blonde girl. Any idea where I might find my friends? Asked Naruto. Try Training Ground 27, I gave them exclusive rights to use it while in the village, said Hiruzen. Naruto nodded. Come on, Temari-chan, said Naruto, grabbing Temari's hand before the duo leapt away. So anything interesting happened on your mission, Yugao? Questioned Hiruzen. I would prefer to talk in your office, Hokage-sama, said Yugao. Of course, said Hiruzen, leading her away. With Naruto and Temari, the duo were running along the rooftops headed towards Training Ground 27. Narukeyun called a voice from the duo's left. Naruto turned to face the voice. Tenchan called Naruto as Tenten came flying at him. He caught her in a hug and spun around the both of them, laughing. Temari had a well-hidden but still visible look of annoyance. You're back, said Tenten. Yeah, just got back, said Naruto, letting go of Tenten before standing next to her. Tenchan, this is my friend Temari-chan. Temari-chan, this is my girlfriend Tenten-chan, said Naruto. Nice to meet you, Temari, said Tenten, holding out her hand. Same to you, Tenten, said Temari, both smiling at one another as they shook hands. So what are you doing, Narukuen? Questioned Tenten. I'm taking Temari to Training Ground 27 and looking for her two brothers, said Naruto. Oh, okay, do either of you mind if I tag along? I have nothing to do now, said Tenten. Naruto looked at Temari, who shrugged. Let's go, said Naruto, leaping off towards the training grounds. Within a few moments, the trio reached the training grounds. Go away, the Hokage gave us exclusive rights to use this training ground, spoke a voice of a boy who was facing away while controlling a puppet. What, not even a hello first, Kankuro, just a fuck off, gee, and here I thought we were friends, said Naruto in a jesting tone. Naruto? Questioned the boy, turning to look at him. What, you forgot what I looked like? Geez, you're hopeless, muttered Naruto. It's been a while, Naruto, said another voice from off to the side. Indeed it has, Gaara, said Naruto, turning to face the red-haired boy who was smiling at him. Geez, Naruto, it is you, how's things? Questioned Kankuro. Yeah, not too bad, you? Questioned Naruto as the trio of boys walked away, leaving Tenten and Temari alone. So Tenten, started Temari. Yeah? Questioned Tenten, looking at Temari, already guessing what she was going to ask. How long have you and Naruto been dating? Questioned Temari. The day before he left for the mission to the waves, said Tenten, smiling as she thought back to the day. And how long did you know him before that? Asked Temari. Well, I knew him since he was born, basically, as we were in the same orphanage. But then he got kicked out at the age of 4 and I didn't see him again till he entered the academy, as Sasuke Uchiha tried to fight Naruto only to have his ass handed to him on a silver platter, said Tenten. Ah, so that's why Mr. Short, Dark and Brooding was glaring at Naruto, muttered Temari. Did Narukuen tell you that name, or did you think it after you met him, giggled Tenten. Naruto-kun told me, but it just fits so perfectly, said Temari, giggling. They both shared a laugh at the emo avenger of the Uchiha clan. So what about you, how did you meet Narukuen? Questioned Tenten. Well, when he was 5 he came with the Hokage on a diplomatic mission to Suna, and he played with me and my brothers while the Hokage and my father the Kazekage were in boring meetings, said Temari. The two stood in silence for a moment. Tenten was the one to break it. You love Naruto, don't you? Questioned Tenten. Yes, I do, said Temari. Tell him, said Tenten, looking at the older blonde girl. But what about you and him? Questioned Temari. 3 letters CRA, said Tenten. Really, Naruto-kun's on the CRA? Questioned Temari. Yeah, he is. Before you ask, he has to take at least 6 wives, said Tenten. The two continued to talk for a while, that is until Yugao appeared in the training grounds in a swirl of leaves. Yugao, what is it? Questioned Temari. Have you seen Naruto? He's needed in the Hokage's office, said Yugao. Last we saw he was, said Temari, interrupted when Naruto stood in front of them. I'm here, Yugao-sensei, said Naruto. Hokage's office now, said Yugao, disappearing in a swirl of leaves. Naruto then hugged Temari, then walked over to Tenten and kissed her cheek. See you two later, said Naruto, vanishing in a swirl of sand. The teacher-student duo appeared in the Hokage's office to see Haku and Zabuza there. Ah, Naruto, there you are, said Hiruzen, smiling at him. Sup, said Naruto, waving his hand. Now Zabuza and Haku have been cleared, said Hiruzen. Naruto nodded and smiled. Congrats you two, said Naruto, smiling at the two former Mist Now Leaf Shinobi. Both were smiling/grinning at the boy. Now the next thing is that Haku has expressed an interest in joining you under Yugao, thereby forming Team 11. Yugao has already given her nod for the idea. We just need your input, said Hiruzen. Naruto thought about it. Yeah, I would like having Haku on a team with me, said Naruto, nodding, swinging an arm over Haku's shoulder. Hiruzen nodded. Alright then, as of today Team 11 is now formed, Yugao being sensei teaching Genin Naruto Uzumaki and Genin Haku Momochi, said Hiruzen. Naruto smiled, looking at Haku, then to Zabuza, who was looking away. And Tokubetsu Jonin Zabuza Momochi, you are now the latest member of the torture and interrogation team, said Hiruzen with a smile. Zabuza's face changed to a sadistic one. Kami saved the poor soul to get stuck with Zabuza, Anko and Ibiki, said Naruto. Hiruzen, Yugao and the hidden ANBU all paled at that. Changing subjects, Hokage-sama, I would like to nominate Team 11 for the Chunin exam, said Yugao. Hiruzen nodded and handed the duo some forms. Take those to room 301 next Monday, said Hiruzen. Both Haku and Naruto nodded. Is that all? Asked Naruto. Hiruzen nodded. Naruto walked out of the room. Haku, Zabuza, come with me, said Naruto as he went. Both ninja looked at Hiruzen, who nodded. So Zabuza and Haku followed Naruto. You two can stay in my clan's compound, said Naruto, walking towards the clan districts of Konoha. Thanks, kid, very generous of you, said Zabuza. Well, you guys are family, so why not, said Naruto. Both nodded as the trio kept walking. Once they got to the compound, Naruto stopped the two. Alright, you two have to wait here for a moment. There's a set of seals that stop people breaking into the compound, so basically only those with Uzumaki DNA can enter while the seals are up, but if I let you two and then put the seals up, you're placed on a list of accepted people, said Naruto, getting a nod from both Zabuza and Haku. Naruto then walked into the compound and out of the duo's sight. Then what looked like a barrier dissolved in front of the two. So the two walked inside and the barrier returned. Alright, good to go, you two just test to make sure it works so you don't get caught out late at night, said Naruto. Both Haku and Zabuza walked out of the compound gates, then back in. Okay, problem solved, said Naruto. Oh, and if you guys are planning to bring a hot date home, you have to tell me so I can make a temporary override seal, said Naruto. Both nodded, Haku slightly blushing at the thought. The next day, Naruto was walking down the road looking for something to do, as he had been given the week off to rest before the Chunin exams. There was only one problem. Naruto was bored as hell. Heck, he would even settle for catching the supposed demon cat, as Tenten called it. Naruto rounded a corner and came upon a curious sight. 3 IWA ninja. Naruto blinked once, twice, thrice. No, they were there. Those three are really there, aren't they? Questioned Naruto internally. Yes, and that one in the armor and the hat has one of us in him, said Kurama. Really, which one? Asked Naruto. I think it's Gobi Koko, said Kurama. Were you there, said one of the IWA ninja. He was a man. He was covered head to toe in red-colored armor. He had orange eyes and was quite tall. He looked a little old to be a genin, but if he was like Naruto, he wouldn't put it past the village to keep him so unskilled that he was still a genin. Yes? Questioned Naruto. Never mind, said the man, narrowing his eyes at Naruto. The only girl of the group walked forwards with a studying gaze on her face as she looked at Naruto curiously. Something you wish to know? Asked Naruto. Your name? Questioned the girl. You know it's polite to give your own name prior to asking for another's, said Naruto. Me, I'm Kuratsuchi, said the girl. The girl had pink pupil-less eyes, black hair, and wore a red uniform with the right sleeve missing and a lapel over her right leg, with a brown jacket over the top, fishnet tights, and a skirt over them. She also wears regular shinobi sandals and a pair of gloves. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, said Naruto. Naruto and Haku walked side by side into the academy. Today was the day of the Chunin exams. Haku had his hair cut, now being relatively short, coming down to just over his eyes. He now wore a long-sleeved light blue shirt with a white snow flake on the back and an icy blue dragon on the front. Haku also now wore a pair of long black pants, a pair of black gloves, and black ninja sandals. Haku had a pair of tantos strapped to his sides and wore his leaf headband around his left shoulder. Naruto's right upper arm was now covered in tattooed snakes, falcons, jaguars, and wolves. Everyone who Haku and Naruto walked past would swear when they walked past the temperature dropped about 10 degrees. Naruto had his EMS active as well as two sides attached to his back crossed under his gourd, and the duo was also leaking some Ki as they walked past. All in all, the two looked very intimidating. As the duo walked up the stairs, they came to a door with a crowd around it. The sign above the door said 301. Both Haku and Naruto sighed at the genjutsu on the sign and walked past and up to the next level. They walked down the hall and found the real room 301. Once they walked in, they were bombarded with KI. Both stood there with a bored look on their faces. Really, is this all a room full of genin can manage? Questioned Haku. Naruto moved his head so his eyes were shadowed by his hair. He stood there with his eyes closed for a second as if contemplating something. The room slowly got colder and colder until people could actually see their breath as Naruto and Haku still stood in the doorway. Naruto's head snapped up, his eyes shot open, and on his face was plastered the most sadistic, scary, and downright intimidating grin. Naruto's eyes had a very eerie blood-red glow to them, and Naruto released some of his Ki. The effect was instantaneous. Several genin lost consciousness, a few pissed themselves, some almost crapped themselves, and even 2 full teams got up and ran out of the door the second Naruto and Haku moved over to the corner. Naruto leaned on the corner wall, and Haku sat on a desk right next to the wall. The wall where Naruto was leaning on and the desk where Haku sat froze. A few moments after Naruto and Haku walked into the room, Ino, Choji, and Shikamaru entered. All three looked a little intimidated by the Ki. The three of them walked off and found a table to sit at. Moments later, Kiba, flanked by Hinata and Shino, walked in. Kiba was laughing like an idiot. Hinata was more scared than normal, and Shino was Shino. The second trio of Leaf Shinobi gave a quick nod to Team 10 before walking to another table to sit at. Several minutes later in walked Team 9. 10 spied Naruto but decided to leave him be with his intimidation, so went and sat with her team. A couple of moments later the door opened again. Sasuke-kun, yelled Ino as she tackled the Uchiha. "Did you miss me?" questioned Ino. "Get off him, Ino pig," yelled Sakura, grabbing Sasuke's arm. "You get off him, forehead," yelled Ino. "Damn, Ino, do you have to be so troublesome?" questioned Shikamaru as he and Choji walked over to Sasuke's team. "Yahoo, looks like we all made it," yelled Kiba, walking back over to the door with his team. "Hey, you guys should be quieter," said a white-haired ninja with a leaf headband and glasses approaching the group. "You guys are rookies just out of the academy, right? Screaming like schoolgirls, geez," said the Nin. "This isn't a picnic," continued the Nin. "Who do you think you are?" questioned Kiba. "Me, I'm Kabuto." "But instead of me, look behind you," said Kabuto. The 9 rookie Leaf Nin turned their heads and saw a team of 3 ninja with aim headbands glaring at them. "Those guys behind you are from the Hidden Rain Village, and they have short tempers. Everyone is nervous about the exam, so quiet down before you cause a scene," said Kabuto. "Well, I suppose I can't blame you. After all, you are just rookies fresh out of the academy. Funny, you kinda remind me of how I used to be," said Kabuto, adjusting his glasses. "So Kabuto-san, right?" questioned Sakura. "Yes," said Kabuto. "Is this your second time taking the exams then?" asked Sakura. "Nope, try 7th time with the exams being held twice a year. That makes this my 4th year," said Kabuto. "Really? Wow, so you must know a lot about the exams," said Ino. "Yeah, and you cute little rookies have caught me in a good mood, so I'll help you out with my Nin info cards," said Kabuto, pulling a deck of cards out of his pocket. "Nin info cards?" questioned Kiba. "They're basically cards with info burned into them with my chakra. I have 4 years' worth of cards here, over 200 of them," said Kabuto. "They may look blank, but if I push my chakra into them," said Kabuto, pulling the top one off and placed his pointer finger at it, then it went from blank to a map of the elemental nations. "Graphs, what kind of info is this?" asked Kiba. "This is the number of those taking the exam as well as a breakdown of what country they're from," said Kabuto. "Do you have cards with info on individuals?" questioned Sasuke. "Hee, there's some guys here you're worried about. Of course the info on this exam's participants isn't perfect, but I do have it. I even have info on you guys. Say something about these guys and I'll take a look," said Kabuto. "Rock Lee of Konoha, Gaara of Suna, and Naruto Uzumaki of Konoha," said Sasuke. "You have names, you're no fun," said Kabuto before pulling 3 cards out. "Show me," said Sasuke. First up we have Rock Lee of Konoha. He had completed over 50 D-rank missions and 10 C ranks. His taijutsu is his best skill, the rest barely registering. His teammates are Niji Hyuga and Tenten Higurashi under the tutelage of Might Guy, said Kabuto, giving the genin a minute to process the information before moving on. Next we have Gaara of Suna. He has completed 30 C ranks, 2 B ranks, and even an A rank mission. His skills are unknown. His teammates are his sister Temari and brother Kankuro. But most surprisingly, he has never returned from a mission with so much as a scratch, said Kabuto, drawing a gasp from the genin in front of him. Finally we have Naruto Uzumaki, Konoha's Frozen Tri-Blade. In the bingo books as a B rank nin with an approach with caution warning. He's completed 37 C rank missions, 3 B ranks and an A rank, specializes in ninjutsu, kenjutsu and fuinjutsu, uses 3 swords for his kenjutsu. Ninjutsu he has been seen using several advanced natures, them being lava and ice. As a summoning contract with the snakes and falcons, carries a gourd full of sand for the use of sand-based ninjutsu, and his fuinjutsu skills rival that of the Yondaime Hokage, since the age of 5 hasn't received so much as a scratch from anyone, has been taught by Konoha's snake mistress Anko Mitarashi and the lunar shadow Yugao Yuzuki, and his teammate is Haku Momochi, said Kabuto. Naruto in the corner smirked when he heard the information, surprised he was in the bingo book. There's no way that's true, shouted Sakura. Believe what you want, but that's what I have gathered on him, but most of that's straight from the bingo book, said Kabuto. Anyway, the leaf, sand, stone, grass, waterfall, rain and sound, many outstanding genin from a variety of villages are here to take the exam. The Hidden Sound village is small, just created last year, so there isn't much info, but the rest of the villages are filled with talented youngsters, said Kabuto. At that moment a ninja jumped into the air before throwing 2 kunai at Kabuto, who jumped back a bit before another ninja appeared behind Kabuto, punching at his head, missing as Kabuto jumped back again. After a few seconds Kabuto's glasses cracked. Interesting, he missed, but Kabuto's glasses still cracked, and Kabuto saw it coming too. He thinks we're all dumb as dog shit, and he smells like snakes, and not like Enko-sensei, but different snakes, Naruto thought to himself. Before anything else could be done, a giant sword came flying out of the air, embedding itself in the wall behind Kabuto. No fighting without permission. If you are caught fighting without permission, you will be failed, said a man appearing on the hilt of the giant blade. Nice to see you again, Zabuza, said Naruto with a smirk. Gaki, said Zabuza, looking at Naruto. At that moment a large puff of smoke formed at the front of the room. Shut up, you worthless shitheads, yelled a man appearing at the front of the room with about 20 others next to him. And I thank you all for waiting. I am Ibiki Moreno, the proctor for the first stage of the Chunin exams, and what my associate at the back says is true. You are not allowed to fight unless you have permission from the proctors of the exam, and even if you do, you are not allowed to use lethal force, said Ibiki. Now each of you will be given one of these tabs and sit at the seat assigned to you, and after everyone is seated we'll hand out the test, said Ibiki. A few moments later everyone was seated. Naruto ended up sitting between Temari and Kuratsuchi. Now before we hand out the tests I will explain the rules, and you are to ask no questions, said Ibiki. Firstly, you all start off with 10 points, and the test works on a subtraction system. You get say 3 wrong, you still have 7 points. Secondly, this is a team test. Whether you pass or fail will be determined by your overall team score. Thirdly, anyone caught cheating will have 2 points subtracted from their score, and lastly, those who lose all their points during the test will be failed along with their 2 teammates, said Ibiki with a smirk as his assistants handed out the tests. There will be a total of 10 questions. The 10th question will not be given until 5 minutes before the test is over, said Ibiki. Now the test will last an hour, and you may begin, said Ibiki. Everyone flipped over their test, and the room was filled with the sound of pencils scribbling on paper. Do they really expect Genin to be able to answer this stuff? Thought Naruto, looking at the difficult questions. He would admit he wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, but he was far from stupid. Naruto thought for a moment, thinking about the rules, the whole setup of the test. They're trying to make us cheat to test our information gathering skills, thought Naruto. He quickly scanned the room and found Haku, but more interestingly found 2 people that didn't look like Genin. Quickly Naruto made a hand sign hidden under his desk. A mirror formed one of the 2 people who didn't look like a Genin. Ibiki stood at the front with Zabuza standing beside him, watching over the whole group. Both noticed the ice mirror and smirked. And the real test begins, thought Zabuza and Ibiki in unison. All those who remain, roared Ibiki in a pissed-off tone. Pass, said Ibiki completely calmly. What, screamed most of the Genin. Ibiki was about to explain when he was interrupted by a bundle of cloth flying through the window. It was quickly being pinned to the roof by a pair of kunai. Enko-sensei early, said Naruto, not even looking at the woman. 25, you let 25 teams pass Ibiki, you're getting soft, man, said Enko. Maybe we just have a stronger bunch this year, Enko suggested Ibiki. Whatever, they'll be less than half once I'm done with them, said Enko, looking crazy and licking a kunai. Alright brats, training ground 44 now, said Enko, jumping out of the broken window. In the blink of an eye Naruto had 2 jumped out of the window following Enko. What just happened? Asked Temari. The second exams proctor called for you all to go to training ground 44, and I'll tell you lot, if you're not there in about 10 minutes you'll be failed, said Ibiki. This caused the rest of the Genin to fly out of their seats and out the doors and in a few cases windows and run towards training ground 44. 5 minutes later, training ground 44. The huge mob of Chunin hopefuls stood outside a fenced-off forest. Welcome runts to my playground, training ground 44, affectionately called the Forest of Death, said Enko, who was sitting on a fence post. She had a grin on her face. Alright, here's the deal. 5-day. Every team is given one of 2 scrolls. The objective is to get to the tower in the center of the forest within the 5 days. The catch, all of your team has to be at the finish line, and you have to have one of each scroll, 1 earth, 1 heaven scroll. And you can't open the scrolls before you get to the tower, but by far the best part killing is allowed, said Anko with a psychotic grin on her face, making some genin shudder. Anko then pulled out a stack of forms. All of you need to sign one of these saying that if you die it's not our fault, said Anko, giving the stack of forms to the closest genin that just happened to be Naruto. Naruto grabbed it from and passed it to Haku, and then took one for himself before handing the forms on. Once your team has signed them, come up to the tents and get a scroll and the number of the gate you'll be entering from, said Anko. Just as Naruto and Haku had finished signing their forms, the duo then approached the tent to find two chunin inside. They handed in their forms and were given a heaven scroll and a piece of paper marked 32. Naruto handed Haku the scroll. Just as the duo went to step out of the tent, Naruto tripped Haku, thus Haku fell to the ground, dropping their scroll. Geez, Haku, you're such a klutz, said Naruto, stepping forwards. Naruto, you fucking asshole, now everyone knows what scroll we have, yelled Haku, catching on to Naruto's plan. Everyone looked over to Naruto and Haku saw the heaven scroll before Naruto quickly snatched it off the ground before storming away, Haku quickly getting up and chasing after him. Clever Geki, thought Anko from her perch on top of the fence. Smart ass, muttered Zabuza, who was watching from a nearby tree. What a dope, said Sasuke, going back to signing his form. Half an hour later. Naruto and Haku were both standing at the gate marked 32. Naruto had the scroll in his pocket. Alright Haku, I've got a plan, said Naruto. Okay, let's hear it, said Haku. Alright, well, we have 5 days in the forest and an earth scroll to get, but that doesn't mean we can't take more scrolls to knock more people out of the next round, said Naruto. I'm still listening, said Haku. Right, well, the idea we both split up once we get into the forest, and I'll send a blood clone with you just so if you get into trouble it can jump in and help, and what we do attack any team so long as it's not any Konoha team, except Team 7, the Suna team, and the IWA team, and take their scrolls. Then tomorrow we meet at the tower with the scrolls, said Naruto. I like the idea and almost everything about it, said Haku. Almost everything? Questioned Naruto. I get the Konoha and Suna team, but the IWA team? Asked Haku. Two things, one is a Jinchuriki, so he'll be very hard to beat, and second, I want to see them in the next round, they have my interest, said Naruto. Are you sure it's all of them and not just the girl? Asked Haku in a jesting tone. Naruto choked, then coughed and spluttered. Yes, well, so what do you think of the plan? Questioned a slightly blushing Naruto. It'll work, said Haku. Good, said Naruto as the gates swung open. Naruto and Haku both entered the forest. Naruto cut his hand before making a hand sign. Blood clone jutsu, called Naruto as blood poured out of his injured hand and created an exact replica of him. Right, I'll leave you here, Haku, and I'll see you at the tower tomorrow morning, said Naruto, getting a nod from Haku before jumping off. You know the plan, yes? Asked Haku to the Naruto clone. Yes, said the clone. Good, stay back and out of sight, said Haku, jumping off in another direction to Naruto, Naruto's blood clone following closely behind. With Haku ran through the forest looking for teams to take scrolls from. Haku ran for hours, finding nothing. As the sun passed the middle of the sky, Haku found a team with aim headbands taking a rest while still keeping a vigilante watch. Haku was watching the trio form a branch high above the trio. In one fluid motion, Haku pulled out a small number of Saban, and with perfect aim threw them, hitting all 3 aim genin in the back and pressure points, knocking them unconscious. In one swift movement, Haku was on the ground searching through the genin's pockets looking for a scroll. Haku found an earth scroll in the second genin's back pocket. Haku pocketed it and leapt away looking for another team. A couple of hours passed as Haku ran through the forest. Haku had stopped to take a break and was just about to leave when a kunai embedded itself right in front of the ice user. Who's there? Asked Haku into the darkness of the forest. Hand over your scroll and we'll let you live, said a voice from the trees above Haku. Come and get it, said Haku as he formed an unusual hand sign creating an ice mirror. Haku then jumped into the mirror. Above in the trees, 3 genin with Kusa headbands looked down at the scene. Where the hell did he go? Asked one. Don't know, come on, that thing is still there, let's go and follow him, said one of the 3, jumping down from his perch on the tree. The 3 landed down in the clearing in front of Haku's ice mirror. What the hell is it? Asked one of the genin. It's a mirror of ice, said Haku. Where the hell are you? Show yourself, ordered the leader of the 3 genin. Oh, come on, you saw me jump into the ice mirror, work it out, dumbass, said Haku. The 3 genin then looked at the mirror and saw Haku there. Come on, give us your scroll, said the leader. Nah, I'm good. In fact, said Haku, trailing off as another 20 ice mirrors formed around the 3 genin, forming a dome, 12 mirrors in a bottom row, 8 in the next row up, and finally 1 on top. You should give me your scroll. Only one person has ever made it out of this technique, and I don't intend to let that reputation fall, said Haku. Oh please, said one of the genin, running over to a gap between the mirrors. No you don't, said Haku, jumping out of the mirror, throwing several samban at the man, making him stumble back and fall on the ground. I'm not going to let you out, try as much as you want, said Haku. Fire-style fireball jutsu, called the leader of the group as he breathed out a large fireball that flew at one of Haku's ice mirrors. It's ice, let's melt it, said the leader as the fireball hit the ice and exploded. Yeah, you see, this ice is very special, it's very hard to melt it, said Haku, jumping out of his mirrors, flinging a barrage of samban at the 3 genin, hitting their arms, legs and necks. You have no hope, give up now and you may survive, keep going on this meaningless endeavor and I can't guarantee you will make it out of this forest alive, said Haku. Don't listen to him, there's only one of him and 3 of us get him, yelled the leader of the group as the 3 of them pulled out a kunai each and ran towards the mirrors. Pity, said Haku, jumping backwards out of his mirrors, doing hand signs. Ice-style ice dragon jutsu, called Haku as the ice mirrors melted and turned into a large serpentine dragon that coiled itself around the 3 people. Ice-style frost breath, said Haku, breathing out a cloud of sparkling freezing air that flew towards the still exposed heads of the 3 genin, and in the blink of an eye they were frozen solid. Haku's dragon dissipated and the genin fell to the ground, and as they did, their frozen heads smashed on the ground. Haku searched the pockets of the now dead genin and found a heaven scroll. Well, that makes a pair by myself, I wonder what kind of luck Naruto's having? Thought Haku aloud before jumping off. There was still time in the day, he was going go till it got dark, then sleep for the night, then go to the tower early in the morning. Haku walked around the forest a bit more, he was kinda hoping to run into Team 7 of Konoha so he could kick their asses. Haku smelt smoke and saw a faint glow off in the distance, so acting as quickly and quietly as possible leapt into the trees and jumped over to above where the glow was and found 3 genin around a fire. Hiding in the mist jutsu, called Haku as a deep mist rolled in. What the hell is going on? Asked one of the genin shortly before being silenced as Haku pegged several samban at the genin, hitting him in several nerve points, causing a temporary paralysis. In a matter of seconds the second genin went down with 2 samban in each limb. Who's there, show yours, said the last genin before he was hit with a barrage of samban and fell to the ground. The mist then dissipated to reveal Haku, who quickly searched the pockets of the genin and took the earth scroll the first one had before jumping off towards the tower. It's getting late, I either need to get to the tower or find someplace to call home for the night, muttered Haku, looking out for anything to use for shelter. After about 10 minutes of jumping from branch to branch, Haku spotted a cave. Haku jumped down into the cave to find it empty. Okay, tonight I sleep here, tomorrow to the tower, said Haku, lying down. With Naruto. Naruto, are you sure that was the best idea, sending him off on his own with only a blood clone as backup? Asked Kushina from inside Naruto's mind. I have faith in Haku, he's strong, replied Naruto mentally, before he jumped away looking for teams. Naruto was running through the forest, jumping from tree branch to tree branch, clambering up the trunk of trees to get a better view of the forest floor. Naruto ran further along before quite quickly finding an aim team on the forest floor. Naruto's eyes flashed golden with a 4-pointed pupil as he drew lilac fire and dropped from the tree, dropping right on top of one of the unsuspecting genin, impaling one in the back of the neck, surprising the other 2 genin, who as soon as they saw Naruto pulled out a kunai each ready to defend themselves. Ha 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 ha, bring it on, little flies, cackled Naruto as sand exploded out his gourd. The 2 genin ran at Naruto wanting to avenge their teammate. Both went to slash at the cackling blonde/redhead only to find that their attacks were blocked by sand. Naruto continued to cackle as he stood still, all the while the 2 genin continued to hack and slash at Naruto. Hey, you 2 are boring, said Naruto as glowing chains shot out of his back and into the ground. What the hell? Questioned one of the genin before one of the chains shot out of the ground in front of him and wrapped around his wrist, pulling him to the ground. Before the second one could even say a word, the top half of his head was sliced off courtesy of Naruto's sword. As the final genin lay there helpless, Naruto looked at him with a psychotic look on his face before his eyes morphed into a blood red and black eye, revealing Naruto's eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Any last words, worm? Questioned the psycho blonde/redhead. The man didn't have time to respond as Naruto uttered the last word the other genin would hear. A manta racer, said Naruto, and the genin was engulfed in black fire. With the lives of the 3 genin taken, Naruto slipped out of his psychotic state and began to search for the scroll. Naruto searched the genin he impaled and found nothing, nothing at all, just nothing. The second Naruto had the same amount of luck finding the scroll the second one had squat. Damn it, I must have torched the scroll, muttered Naruto looking at the pile of ashes. Well, hello, what do we have here? questioned Naruto as he knelt down by the ashes as he saw a cylindrical object. Naruto pulled out a scroll, a heaven scroll to be precise. Damn, another heaven one, muttered Naruto as he pocketed the scroll and moved on to his next unfortunate victims. Naruto had been running for about an hour and decided to have a break, so he dropped from his perch on a tree branch and landed on the ground in a crouched position. Naruto sat down with his back to a tree and closed his eyes, quickly falling asleep. Naruto awoke hearing a scream. Naruto leapt to his feet and ran in the direction of the scream. Naruto jumped from branch to branch, quickly coming across a slightly disturbing scene. He saw a bear, a red-haired girl, who was backed up to a tree, and a pair of mutilated corpses. The bear was stalking over to the girl. Naruto, without even thinking, drew one of his scythes and threw himself between the girl and the bear, blocking a clawed swipe in the process. The claws connecting with the metal of the scythe created a loud clanging sound. Naruto in the blink of an eye swung the scythe around, and as he did it caught fire. The flaming scythe slid straight through the bear, bifurcating it. As the top half of the bear slid off the bottom half, Naruto turned to the girl behind him. "The scroll is in his pocket, please leave me be," begged the girl, holding her hands in a defensive position. Naruto took one of the girl's shaking hands in his own. The girl looked up at him. She had medium-length red hair that was spiky on one side while flat and tame on the other. She had red eyes that matched her hair and wore purple glasses to complement her purple outfit. "Are you okay?" asked Naruto. The girl looked at him curiously for a moment. "I told you the scroll is OV," she said, interrupted by Naruto. "Yes, I heard you the first time, but I'm asking you, the girl with pretty red hair, are you alright?" asked Naruto. The girl blushed at the compliment. "I guess a little shaken, but that's it," said the girl. "Good, so you're alright to travel?" asked Naruto. The girl nodded. "Great," said Naruto, gently pulling the girl to her feet. "You got a name, or do I just call you Miss Pretty Redhead?" asked Naruto. The girl muttered something, but Naruto didn't hear what she said. "Sorry, I didn't quite catch that," said Naruto. "Karen, my name is Karen," said the now dubbed Karen. "Pretty name for an equally pretty girl," said Naruto with a foxy grin, making Karen blush. Luckily for her, Naruto had his eyes shut. What about you, what's your name?" asked Karen. "Me, I'm Naruto, Naruto Uzumaki," said the grinning blonde/redhead. Naruto quickly walked over to the down genin, which Karen said had a scroll, and lo and behold, an earth scroll awaited him. Naruto pocketed the scroll and walked to the edge of the clearing. "Well, come on, Karen-chan, I ain't leaving you here," said Naruto. "Really?" questioned Karen, not believing a boy from another village no less was going to protect her. "Yep, come on, you're coming with me to the tower," said Naruto as he held his hand out to the girl. Karen walked up and gingerly took his hand. He squeezed her hand reassuringly and smiled at her, again making her blush. She then cracked a small smile of her own. The duo then jumped off into the tree branches. After about an hour of running around, Naruto decided to take a break for Karen's sake. She was tired, he could tell, and as much as she wanted to deny it, she knew it was true, so the two of them stopped in a clearing. Naruto closed his eyes and leaned back on a tree as Karen sat on the ground panting. Before either could rest, however, a kunai was flung at Naruto. "Naruto-kun!" screamed Karen as the lethal projectile neared the blonde redhead, who without even opening his eyes plucked the kunai out of the air. "Give us your scrolls and the girl, and we'll let you live," said a voice from the shadows of a nearby tree. Karen looked around. She could sense 9 present chakra signatures. "Are the 9 of you going to come out and fight, or do I need to destroy this section of the forest to get you all?" questioned Naruto, pushing his back off the tree, and as he did, he pegged the kunai off in a random direction. Throughout the entire clearing, a sickening squelch sound could be heard. "Sorry, make that 8, said Naruto as sand started to pour out of his gourd. "Damn you!" screamed one of the genin, leaping at Naruto from his previous perch in a tree. "Come now, this is too easy," gloated Naruto as the sand shot off the ground, grabbing hold of the genin by his ankles and his neck. The next thing anyone knew, a sickening crunch was heard and the genin was literally snapped in two. As the blood poured out of the two halves of the former genin, the other 7 were all seeing red. All 7 genin jumped out of the trees at Naruto, several wielding kunai and others flashing through hand signs. Sand exploded out of Naruto's gourd and formed a dome around him. Several kunai slammed into the dome of sand only for nothing to happen. After about 3 seconds, the genin jumped away and the sand fell away, revealing Naruto with his EMS active and 3 swords drawn. "Who's first?" questioned Naruto. 4 genin jumped at Naruto, 1 from each side, 1 from in front and 1 from behind. In an instant, a clone of Naruto appeared behind him, standing back to back with the real Naruto, and the clone immediately went through hand signs. The real Naruto blocked a kunai slash at his midsection. "Ice style absolute 0," called the Naruto clone as he did. The temperature in the immediate area started to drop. Naruto the clone bolted over to Karen, and in one swift movement picked her up and jumped into the trees, leaving the real Naruto in the clearing with the 7 genin. What the hell? Questioned one of the genin. The temperature continued to drop. Get him, yelled one of the genin, running at Naruto, who jumped back onto a tree trunk. The temperature continued to drop. The 7 genin were slowing down, and before the genin could attack the Naruto again, their feet had been frozen to the ground. What the hell? Screamed one of the genin, trying to move his feet. Naruto stood there watching the genin freeze when he became bored and bolted at the group, slashing 3 out of their icy prisons. You shall serve as entertainment, said Naruto with a sickening grin on his face. The 3 freed genin shakily stood and pulled out a kunai each. Die, screamed one of the genin, charging at Naruto, aiming to stab him in the gut. Snore, said Naruto, kicking the genin's hand, sending the kunai up into the air as Naruto deflected the other 2 kunai from the others who had tried to sneak attack him. As this was going on, the 4 still frozen genin were getting more and more frozen. Naruto sheathed his katanas, deciding that he wasn't going to get any form of weapon fight from the 3 in front of him. One of the 3 free genin threw his kunai at Naruto, who plucked the weapon out of the air. The 3 genin ran at Naruto, who used his newly acquired kunai to cut 2 of his fingers on his left hand, confusing the charging genin. Naruto jumped over them as they got to him and quickly ran the bloody digits over his upper right arm, more spastically the wolf and jaguar tattoos. Summoning jutsu, called Naruto as 2 clouds of smoke erupted around him, and standing next to him were a bear-sized wolf and jaguar. Ah, Naruto-sama, what can I do for you? Asked the wolf. Possibly help liven up this fucking snore fest, said Naruto. The wolf and jaguar looked at the trio of very scared genin. With pleasure, said the jaguar as it and the wolf pounced on one of the genin each. Leaves you and me, said Naruto, pointing to the last genin, who was very scared. You going to make a move? Questioned Naruto, drawing the genin's attention back to him. The genin shakily pulled out a kunai. Boring, called Naruto as he did some quick hand signs. Wood style wood dragon jutsu, called Naruto, and as he did, a dragon made of wood shot out of the ground next to him. Meanwhile, with Naruto, Clone, and Karen. What was that, Naruto-kun? Questioned Karen. Nothing, don't worry your pretty little head over it, Karen-chan, said Naruto, looking down at the redhead in his arms. Naruto continued to jump away. The 2 then heard screams. Alright, Karen-chan, wait here, boss'll be here in a minute, said the Naruto clone as he put Karen down before disappearing in a cloud of smoke. Naruto returned 20 minutes later with an additional 3 scrolls. As he landed in front of Karen, they both heard a girl's scream. Oh no, that's Kin, muttered Karen, turning to Naruto. You know who that was? Questioned Naruto. Karen nodded. Let's go, said Naruto. It was the morning of the 2nd day of the Chunin exams, and Haku was waiting outside the tower for Naruto. He'd only been there for 5 minutes, so he waited calmly for his mostly blonde teammate. Haku jumped slightly and pulled out a pair of saban when he heard noises. Haku into the tower now, I'll explain in a moment, said Naruto, appearing next to Haku. Naruto was joined by 2 girls. One had medium-length red hair that was spiky on one side while flat and tame on the other. She had red eyes that matched her hair and wore purple glasses to complement her purple outfit, while the other had very long black hair, almost reaching down to the ground, tied by a violet ribbon right near the end, and black eyes. She wore a forehead protector with a musical note tied around her forehead, a pale green vest somewhat similar to a flak jacket, and snake-patterned pants and scarf. Huayar tried to question Haku but was interrupted by Naruto, who pushed Haku and the 2 girls into the tower. Uzumaki, came a loud shout from the forest. Naruto quickly bit his thumb before doing a hand sign. Blood clone jutsu, whispered Naruto as blood poured from his wounded thumb, pouring onto the ground, forming a second Naruto. The Narutos nodded to each other, and the blood clone bolted away from the tower. Over this was you, pedo snake, yelled the Naruto clone. I'll get you yet, little shit, roared pedo snake. What the, said Haku, only to be stopped when Naruto held his hand over the boy's mouth. After about 30 seconds, Naruto let go of Haku, who quickly jumped up. Alright, Naruto, just what the hell is going on? Asked Haku. As much as I would like to tell you, Haku, I'm not entirely sure, said Naruto before turning back to the 2 girls behind him. Both were fidgeting nervously. Sai, let me handle this, Haku, said Naruto before he pulled out a pair of scrolls. Open them so they know we've finished, said Naruto, tossing Haku the scrolls. Haku nodded and opened the scrolls. Once he did, smoke started to pour out of them. Haku tossed them on the ground. They landed on the ground surprisingly in a perfect cross, and in an instant a poof signified that whatever was happening happened. Congrats, boys, you both passed the 2nd test, said Yugao, who had appeared there standing over both scrolls. Thanks, Yugao-sensei, said Haku, smiling. Yeah, thanks, Yugao-sensei, but is there somewhere in this tower I can speak with these 2 in private? Asked Naruto, motioning to the 2 terrified girls behind him. Naruto said. Yugao interrupted when Naruto raised his hand. I'll tell you when I know, said Naruto. Yugao narrowed her eyes at her blonde student before nodding and leading him off to a room down a hallway. Karen Kin called Naruto. Both girls jumped and quickly ran after Naruto. Naruto, Kin, Karen and Yugao reached a room at the end of the hallway. Yugao-sensei, can you please inform the Hokage I need to speak to him, said Naruto. Yugao nodded before disappearing in a swirl of leaves. Naruto opened the door to the room and turned on the light. There was a table and 3 chairs in the room. Naruto flicked his head to the side, telling both girls to enter the room. They did so, but very cautiously. Once inside, Naruto shut the door behind him. All right, you two, said Naruto after a moment, drawing the attention of both girls to him. Why, yes, stuttered Karen. Tell me why Orochimaru, of all people, was after you two in the forest, said Naruto, looking at both girls disbelieving. Silence. Naruto looked at the two of them. Look, you have 2 options. You can tell me now and I will probably be able to do something to help you. Or you can wait, and after I tell the Hokage about Orochimaru, he'll send Ibiki, the proctor of the first exam, and Anko, the proctor of the second exam, in here, and they will get the information out of you, more than likely through painful means if they have to, said Naruto, looking at the 2 girls in front of him. Again, Naruto was only met with silence. Fine, you want it to be difficult, said Naruto, standing up and walking towards the door. Wait, said Kin just before Naruto placed his hand on the handle. Yes? Said Naruto, turning back around to face the 2 of them. How do we know you can deliver? Questioned Kin. You don't, but I can, said Naruto, a grin forming on his face. I want you to assure us that you will help us. If you do, we will tell you everything, said Karen. Before Naruto could answer, there was a knock at the door. Who is it? Asked Naruto. It's me, the Hokage's here, said Yugao from the other side of the door. Just in time, said Naruto, opening the door. The door shut behind him and Kin and Karen were left on their own for a few minutes. After about 5 minutes, the door opened again to reveal Naruto. I can agree to that if you allow the Hokage to be in the room when you spill what you know, said Naruto. Kin and Karen both looked at each other before nodding. They said yes, called Naruto out into a hallway. After he did, an elderly man who gave off a powerful but yet grandfatherly aura walked into the room. So these are the 2 you were talking about? Questioned Hiruzen. Naruto nodded as he closed the door. Both Naruto and Hiruzen looked at Kin and Karen expectantly. After a moment of silence, Naruto spoke up. Tell us about Orochimaru, and I promise you I will do everything in my power to protect you from him, said Naruto, making both girls blush slightly. Kin spoke first. Orochimaru is the leader of my village, if you could even call it that, said Kin. What do you mean? Asked Hiruzen. She means that there are ninja there, but it's more of a huge laboratory than that of a ninja village. Orochimaru finds people abandoned or alone with the promise of a place to belong and a place to call home, before turning any he fancies into test subjects, and the rest into tools, said Karen. He offers power in exchange for loyalty. Everyone in Oto is trained in at least 2 of the ninja arts. Those who are useful to Orochimaru are given cures, marks which slowly twist and warp their minds until all that remains is a lust for power, and the rest are used for Orochimaru's horrible experiments, said Kin. And Orochimaru will do whatever he has to so he can learn every jutsu in existence, which is why he's here, said Karen. The Uchiha, muttered Naruto. Yes, Orochimaru plans to place a curse mark on him, and after that Orochimaru plans to burn Konoha to the ground, said Kin. What do you mean? Asked Naruto. I'm sorry, that's all he told me. Me and my team were supposed to find the Uchiha after Orochimaru applied the mark, then fight him before making our way here. If we made it to the 3rd round, he would tell us more, said Kin. I was told slightly more, said Karen, drawing everyone's attention to her. Orochimaru told me that he didn't expect Kin's team to get to the 3rd round, and during the finals he plans to invade with his own forces and the forces of an ally, which was going to be Suna, but they declined and Orochimaru could do nothing to change their minds. Not wanting to draw attention to himself, he gave up. But the plan now was some section of the Konoha Anbu route or something like that would assist, and Orochimaru was planning to get Kumo to lend them one of the 2 Jinchuriki to help in the invasion, said Karen. Route Anbu, you say? Questioned Hiruzen. Karen nodded. Please tell me you have something to prove that, almost begged Hiruzen. Kin and Karen looked at the Hokage in a small amount of shock. The leader of Route is very careful. Hokage-sama has been trying for years to find something, anything to arrest him for, said Naruto. Sorry, no I don't. I was there when Orochimaru got the reply by letter, but that's all, said Karen. That's okay. Is that all you know about the invasion? Asked Hiruzen. Karen nodded. Sorry, we can't tell you more, said Kin, looking down. Don't be, you may have just saved hundreds of lives, you two, said Naruto. Kin turned to Naruto, only to see him smiling gently at her. Naruto is right, you two have quite possibly saved hundreds of lives today, said Hiruzen, smiling a grandfatherly smile at the two. You two will now be placed under the protection of the Uzumaki clan, and that means you'll be staying in my clan's compound, and don't worry, Orochimaru will not be able to touch you once inside, said Naruto with a smile. Really? Questioned Kin. On my word as the heir to the Uzumaki clan, I swear I will not let Orochimaru land a finger on either of you two from now on, said Naruto with a smile, and before he knew what was going on he was knocked onto the ground and he had two girls on his chest sobbing and continuously saying thank you. Naruto simply rubbed their backs in a comforting manner. Wait, what about if my team makes it through this round? Asked Kin. Well, that will be up to you whether you wish to continue or not, said Hiruzen. Kin nodded. Not that I mind have two beautiful women on my chest, but could you two get up? Asked Naruto. Both Kin and Karen jumped to their feet, their faces rivaling the color of a tomato. Naruto chuckled and got up. Well, before much else I need to show you where you're staying from now on, said Naruto before looking to Hiruzen, who simply nodded. Naruto then grabbed Kin and Karen by the shoulders and in a swirl of sand the three were gone. The three ninja appeared just outside the Uzumaki compound and for a moment both Kin and Karen were disorientated. Where are we, Naruto-kun? Asked Kin once she could see straight again. This is my clan's compound and where you two will be staying now. Just wait a moment, while I drop the barrier so you two can come in, said Naruto, but as soon as he did he felt a shitload of fear radiating off of Karen and Kin. On second thoughts, muttered Naruto, turning around to face the girls before making a hand sign. Shadow Clone Jutsu, called Naruto as a shadow clone popped into existence next to him. You know what to do, said Naruto. The clone nodded as he walked inside the compound. You will be on the hunt for Orochimaru. Don't worry, you two, once you're inside the barrier he cannot touch you, said Naruto, smiling at the two girls. We trust you, it's just, muttered Karen, trailing off a bit. I'm sorry I didn't catch that, said Naruto. We have one friend in Oto, and I'm worried what the pedo snake might do to her to try and get to us, said Karen. What's her name, and what's she look like? I'll keep an eye out for her, you might be lucky, and he might send her after you, and if he does I'll help her too, said Naruto with a grin. You would really do that? Questioned Kin. Yep, any friend of yours is a friend of mine, said Naruto, grinning a huge grin. At that moment the barrier dissolved and Naruto ushered the two girls inside the barrier. Her name is Tayuya. Naruto and Haku stood in a group of 26 genin. They were all standing in front of the Hokage, who was speaking. Thus it has been concluded that we need to have some prelim matches to thin out the still large numbers of you, said Hiruzen, finishing his ramble. Naruto looked around the room. There was his team, Kuratsuchi's team, Temari's team, Tenten's team, Kin's team, Kabuto's team, Team 8, Team 10, and somehow Team 7 made it. Naruto noticed Sasuke was rubbing a mark on his neck. It looked like the one Anko had, but he didn't say anything. Naruto turned back to the front when a sickly-looking ninja appeared in a crouched position next to the Hokage. Please, Hokage-sama, let me explain, said the man. Hiruzen nodded. Hello to you all. My name is Hate. I'm the proctor for the third exam, so I'm also the proctor for these matches. Now on to the rules. These will be one-on-one matches decided at random. Your goal is to incapacitate your opponent. You may use any means necessary. The fight will go on until one party is unable to fight. Dead or I step in now. That's been explained. Is there anyone who would like to pull out now? Asked Hate. Two people raised their hands, Kabuto and one of the team from IWA. After noting down their names they were dismissed. Once they left, the giant wall panel on the wall behind Hate spun, revealing a screen. Your names will appear on the screen, as will your opponents. You get who you get no ifs, ands, or buts about it, said Hate. Once finished, names flashed on the screen. Would everyone but Neji, Hyuga, and Naruto Uzumaki go to the upper levels, please, said Hate. Once the names landed on Neji and Naruto, everyone else did as instructed and retreated to the upper levels. Give up now, Uzumaki. Fate has already declared me the winner, said Neji. And here I thought Hayashi had a stick up his ass sideways. Somebody get this kid to a doctor, that shit must hurt, said Kushina in Naruto's mind, making Naruto snicker. Yeah, no, Fate's bullshit, so let's just get this over with, said Naruto as he spread his arms out and leaned back, and fell on his back. The second his gourd touched the ground it shattered and cushioned his fall, and so we now find Naruto lying on the floor of the arena. Uzumaki-san, you are in a battle, said Hate. Against him? No, this is just a nap for me, I'm ready anyway, said Naruto. Neji growled at the blonde. Hate looked at Neji, who simply nodded. Match begin, called Hate before jumping away. Neji ran at Naruto and prepared to close off the blonde's chakra points. Go, Neji, show him your flames of youth, yelled Lee and Guy from up on the balconies. Guy that turned to Tenten. Tenten, why are you not cheering for your comrade? Asked Guy. First of all, no point, Niji has absolutely no hope, and second of all, if I was going to cheer on anyone, I would be cheering on my boyfriend more than King Arrogance, said Tenten. Most unyouthful Tenten, having no faith in your teammate, said Lee. No, you misunderstand, I do have faith in Niji, but I know for a fact Naruto will not lose to him, said Tenten. Or have you already forgotten Naruto-kun's sand, Lee? Questioned Tenten. Down on the field, Niji just rediscovered Naruto's sand as he went to block the chakra points in Naruto's legs. If you can't get close, you can't block my chakra, declared Naruto, not even lifting his head. Damn it, Uzumaki, fight back, growled Niji. Yeah, I guess I should. I don't want this to go until you're out of chakra, said Naruto, jumping to his feet. Tenchan, yelled Naruto. Yeah, Naruto-kun? Questioned Tenten. How badly can I beat him? Asked Naruto. To the ground, no more no less, said Tenten. Naruto smirked. Your wish is my command, my lady, said Naruto, bowing before turning back to an aggro Niji. Oh, sorry, am I pissing you off? Questioned Naruto in a carefree tone. Niji growled and charged at Naruto again. Naruto rolled his eyes and caught Niji's hand as he went for a palm thrust. Yeah, no, not happening, said Naruto, throwing the Hyuga prodigy over his head. Niji righted himself in midair and used the wall as a springboard to launch himself back at the blonde. Naruto's sand rose from the ground and caught Niji by the ankle, and by Naruto's command the sand tendrils slammed the arrogant Hyuga into the ground face first, then flipped and slammed again, this time back first, then face first again, but before he could be slammed back first again, Niji forced chakra through the chakra points in his ankles, breaking the sand's hold. Give up, Niji, you have no hope of winning, said Naruto. No, I will not lose, roared the Hyuga, charging at the triple Jinchuriki. Naruto let his head fall and took a deep breath. Fine, Niji, I guess I'll have to pound you into the ground, said Naruto. You can try, said Niji, still confident in his own victory. Naruto held his eyes shut and his head down. Niji ran at the blonde, trying to deliver some strikes, only to be stopped, but this time it wasn't by Naruto's sand. Naruto's trench coat started to flap in what looked like wind, but there wasn't the slightest breeze in the room. Everyone was wondering what was going on. But as Niji went to strike Naruto, something strange happened. A piece of what looked almost like metal formed out of nowhere in front of Naruto. The thing itself was semi-transparent black and was glowing black and had almost like a fiery effect to it. Another formed above it, but this one was gold, then a black one formed on top of that, and then another gold one, and they kept forming in that pattern until what looked like a ribcage had formed around Naruto. It was at this point that Niji jumped back. The ribcage around Naruto then sprouted a pair of arms and a head. The head had glowing golden eyes with a 4-point star for pupils. The skeletal structure then formed a layer of skin, and then over the top of that armor. Now, Niji, would be a good time for you to panic, said Naruto. The Hyuga did his best to suppress his fear. Behold the most fearsome of the Uchiha's ocular techniques, Susanoo, declared Naruto, his eyes having morphed into his EMS. Sasuke, up in the stand, seethed at the display of power from the blonde. The giant skeleton reached down and grabbed the still shocked Hyuga. No matter what happens, Uzumaki, I will win this, it is fate, said the Hyuga prodigy. There you go with fate again. What is your obsession with fate anyway? Asked Naruto. You wouldn't understand, declared Niji. Yeah, you might be right, but I would actually have to care anyway, and besides, you and I both know fate is bull, said Naruto. What do you mean? Questioned Niji, struggling against the giant hand that held him captive. Well, if you believed in fate, you wouldn't be here now. You would be in your clan's compound glaring daggers at a member of the main house, and you wouldn't be considered a clan prodigy because all those who are born weak are always weak, and in your clan those in the branch family are weak. That's why they are the branch family. So if you truly believed in fate, you won't be here, said Naruto, shocking Niji. Now yield, Niji, or I will crush you, ordered Naruto, his Susanoo squeezing Niji. Proctor, I yield, said Niji, hanging his head. Winner by forfeit, Naruto, Uzumaki said hate, and with that Naruto dropped Niji and his black and gold Susanoo disappeared as he walked back up to the stands, medics coming out and retrieving Niji. Alright, moving on, to the next match. We have Kuratsuchi versus Sai, said hate. The girl from the IWA team left her position and descended to the floor at the same time, so was Sai. The two fighters met in the center. You both know the rules, are you ready? Asked hate. Ready, said Kuratsuchi. Sai, on the other hand, simply nodded. Alright, match 2 begins, said hate. Kuratsuchi jumped back from the Konoha ninja, who did the same. With almost the entirety of the floor between the two, they studied each other for a moment, before Sai quickly piled out a scroll and began to draw on it. Kuratsuchi began to run at the ninja, but it was too late. Sai had finished his drawing. Ninja Art Super Beast scroll, called Sai as a trio of lions leapt off his parchment and ran at Kuratsuchi. Said girl pulled out 3 shuriken and threw them at the ink constructs, dispatching them. By the time Kuratsuchi had finished dispatching the lions, Sai had already drawn a hawk. Ninja Art Super Beast scroll called Sai the hawk then formed off the page and started to fly up. Sai quickly jumping on his hawk's back ascended to the ceiling. Dumb move, said Kuratsuchi as she started to flip through hand signs. Earth-style earth spikes, called Kuratsuchi, planting her hands on the ground, making the earth rise and form a large number of spikes under Sai's position. What's that going to do? He's in the air, snorted Sakura up in the stands. Fire-style fireball jutsu, called Kuratsuchi, launching a huge fireball at the hawk Sai was standing on. Sai tried to maneuver his hawk out of the way but was too slow. Sai's hawk was hit, making the boy fall. He managed to get out of the path of the fireball, but his scrolls, ink and ink brush fell out of his pouch, and the brush and scrolls fell into the incoming fireball, while the ink itself fell onto the earth spikes, smashing when it hit them. Sai flipped in the air and landed on the tip of a spike and jumped down to the ground, and as he did he pulled out his tanto and ran at Kuratsuchi, who quickly pulled out a kunai. The two traded blows, Sai trying to slash at the girl's neck only to be blocked by her kunai. Kuratsuchi threw her arm forward trying to skewer the Konoha Genin, only for a clang to be heard as the two metal weapons collided. Kuratsuchi growled before the IWA Genin leapt back and flipped through some quick hand signs. Water-style gunshot, yelled Kuratsuchi as she shot 4 large balls of water out of her mouth at high speeds. Sai moved to avoid the first one, and did so successfully with only a slight hit on his person, wetting the side of his shirt slightly. The second water ball hit Sai's hand holding his tanto, pushing the boy's hand back and forcing him to release his tanto. The third water ball hit Sai's other wrist, knocking his hand back, and the final ball hit Sai in the chest, knocking the pale boy back into a wall. Sai was unconscious against the wall, water soaking his clothes. Winner, Kuratsuchi said. Hate. Kuratsuchi smirked and returned to her team, stealing a sideways glance at Naruto as she did. Nice match, said the blonde redhead as the IWA Genin walked past him. Thanks, pretty boy, said Kuratsuchi with a smirk. Naruto developed a smirk of his own as he watched her retreating figure. Next match, cough cough Temari of the Desert vs Shino Abirame, said Hate. Next match, cough cough Temari of the Desert vs Shino Abirame, said Hate. The two selected ninja descended the stairs and met in the middle of the room. Match cough cough 3 begin, called Hate, starting the match jumping back. Temari pulled the fan off her back, keeping it closed, and Shino let the bugs flow from his skin, forming a cloud around him. Shino stood there analyzing his opponent. After a second, Shino sent a small swarm of bugs at Temari. Temari shimmered out, then back into existence, and all of the bugs Shino had sent forwards fell to the ground in at least 2 pieces. I didn't even see her move. What happened? Questioned Shino mentally. It was then that Shino noticed the black thing had been opened a bit, and a purple circle could be seen. The first of 3 moons is shown. 2 more, and you're done, said Temari, standing there almost leaning on her fan. Shino pulled out a few kunai and threw them at Temari, who again shimmered in and out of existence, and the kunai that had been lobbed at her were on the ground around her. Shino once again sent in a small swarm of bugs, with the same result as the first time. 2 moons, said Temari with her fan open more, showing a second purple circle. Shino sighed before standing up straight and raised his hand. Proctor, I forfeit, said Shino. Why, Shino? Yelled Kiba. It would be foolish. Temari-san here has a way to stop my insects and weapons, and I do not know any genjutsu nor ninjutsu, and my taijutsu is abysmal. I have no way to defeat Temari-san. It's only logical, said Shino, turning around. Is that cough your final decision, cough Shino? Asked Hate. Yes, said Shino, nodding before returning to his previous position with his team. Winner by forfeit, cough Temari, said Hate. The giant board behind him started to flip through more names. Would Kintsuchi cough and Sakura cough 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 Haruno please come down, asked Hate. Watch me, Sasuke-kun, squealed Sakura as she walked down to the arena. As Kin was just about to walk down, she felt a hand on her shoulder. Naruto-kun? Questioned Kin, looking at Naruto. Wipe the floor with her, said Naruto with a serious look on his face. Kin nodded before heading down to the arena floor. If your cough both ready then begin, said Hate before jumping back. Sakura ran forwards, cocking her fist back. Kin rolled her eyes and flicked her hand out to the side, letting several samban fall into her hand between her fingers. Kin flicked her samban forwards, hitting Sakura in the arm of her cocked back fist, making it fall limp by her side. What the? Yelled Sakura, looking at her arm. Kin, using Sakura's distracted state to her advantage, ran forwards. Sakura looked back just in time to see Kin jump and in midair spin around, kicking Sakura in the face, sending her flying back into a wall. You bitch, yelled Sakura, getting up and ripping the samban out of her arm before pulling a kunai out of her weapon pouch and running at Kin. Kin threw a few more samban at Sakura. The samban hit the girl in the arm again. Sakura dropped her kunai but kept running, cocking her other fist back. Sakura got within a meter of Kin, and she thrust her fist forwards only for it to be deflected by Kin, who simply batted the Banshee's hand to the side before Kin grabbed Sakura by the wrist. Kin used the captured limb to push Sakura back only to pull her back and kick her in the chest. "That's for calling me a bitch," said Kin, pushing Sakura out again before once again pulling her back and kneeing her in the jaw. "That's for screeching," said Kin, pushing Sakura out once more before once again pulling her in, but this time letting her go, and spinning around her in Kin's spin she pulled out a handful of saban before stabbing them all into Sakura's lower back. "That's for daring to call yourself a kunoichi," yelled Kin, grabbing Sakura by her forehead and slamming her into the ground, driving the group of saban deep into her flesh. "Call the match, she's not getting up anytime soon," sneered Kin. "You whore, don't you walk away from me," screeched Sakura. Kin stopped dead in her tracks, and her ki started to rise. Kin snapped back around and glared at Sakura. "What did you call me?" questioned Kin in a sickly sweet tone as he ki skyrocketed. Sakura, doing the only smart thing she had ever done, quickly shut her mouth. Winner cough Kin Tsuchi coughed hate. Kin walked back up to the upper platforms as the medics took the Banshee away. "Kin-chan," said Naruto just as Kin passed him. "Yes?" asked Kin. "That was fucking brutal," said Naruto in a serious tone. Kin's head dropped a little bit. "I like it," smirked Naruto. Kin looked up at him. As soon as she saw his smirk she blushed and looked away. "Thanks," said Kin, taking a seat on the balcony next to Naruto. "Next cough match is," said Hate, waiting for the names to stop flashing. "Zaku Abumi cough versus Sasuke Uchiha," called Hate. The two said boys walked down to the arena. "Oh great arrogant bastard A, an arrogant bastard B, what's this going to be an arrogance off?" joked Naruto, who got a glare from both competitors and a snicker from almost everyone else. "Give up now, you have no hope against an Uchiha," said Sasuke arrogantly, making Naruto inwardly groan at his dumbass kinsman. "Especially with no arms," added Sasuke smugly. "One arm will be more